The NZGC is brought to you by our incredible technology and media partners.
All right, and welcome back. This time for real. I hope you guys are ready for this match because we certainly are, and the teams are as they jump on into pick and ban. Apologies for the delays, guys. We are not going to waste any more of your time, our time, or really anyone's time, because like I said, we are straight on into pick and ban. What are we expecting to come off the table for both of these teams?
Well, the first thing I'm expecting is the team is going home tonight. That's the most important thing to remember. Well, I mean, they're playing.
A whole team's getting banned out.
They're playing from home, so they're already gone home. But in any case, they are being taken out of the NZGC tonight.
Yeah, sent packing.
One team's path ends here tonight. And we talked about it before the stream fell down. It was actually Decode have had the toughest path coming in tonight. So they're going to have to pull out all the stops tonight. And having a look at bans right now, you can actually see some pretty key ones coming up. Lysandra and Yasuo are already so much to talk about.
Yeah, I find it interesting actually taking Yasuo off the board, and I really feel like that's just to take that away from Artifans, who of course played that to great effect in Game 3 on this Wednesday just been. And, you know, like we said, it was after two kind of tight-ish matches. Tigereye got one, Too Easy got another, and then suddenly Artifans on Yasuo just blew the whole thing to bits. Chandler and Lysandra, words are hard, being both taken away. Aurelion Sol as well off from Artifans. So first of all, they're banning out Artifans. Second of all, they're really going after strategies they know Tigereye likes.
And really key as well, they're red side. Now they have to either ban Nidalee or Karma. They can't pick both because they've already picked two bans away from the mid laner, and so they might opt to ban neither and give away one. It's going to be the case. They get the ban away Tahm Kench.
Yeah, Tahm Kench. They're really going hard on what Tigereye pulled out on Wednesday. The thing is, right, Tigereye have played other strategies throughout this tournament. That's not the only thing they can play. So they're leaving things open. Notably, they had actually left open Lee Sin, but notably Nidalee, who is favored by both Bomi and Puni, and of course Rek'Sai has been banned away from Puni. So with that Nidalee taken up, I'm curious to see what Decode take, because they'll probably, like you said, need to take the Karma.
Yeah, and they can actually pair that up with a Sivir, because with red side, you do get two picks at once first. Karma's there. They could go to lock in the Sivir as well. They do have at least one ban against the enemy bottom lane. OK Tiger and Brawler are a little bit more limited, but as we've seen from Brawler, such a deep champion pull on that support role.
Yeah, well, I wonder if they would even want to take Jhin away from OK Tiger. They've banned out almost all of this team comp, excluding whatever Rare Fiction ends up playing, though he tends to have a pretty deep champion pool, not so much bannable. Puni is actually going to be the one hovering over Lee Sin, and he is going to take it. So wow, Bomi with the Lee Sin open didn't take it. Puni is the one who took it away. They leave the Jhin open, and straight away that is locked in for OK Tiger, and I just dropped my pen.
See you later, pen.
Yeah, that pen is going home tonight.
Along with one of the teams, right?
Yeah, we have three pens here. One of them is going home tonight.
This is what I was talking about.
Fish King Brawler on his fish.
This is what I was talking about before. Brawler's deep champion pool. I was talking to him after the matchup on Wednesday as well, and he talked about how he almost laughed when Karma was banned or picked away from him. He would just pick Nami. And because he's so comfortable in that champion, he's absolutely fine playing against them. They've got their bottom lane set up now.
Well, the other thing that's really interesting is the Yasuo and Aurelion Sol were both useful in that team comp, right? Especially the Aurelion Sol when they were playing a more aggressive, go the distance, mid-ground control kind of comp. The other parts of that were having a Jhin and having something that could peel for the Jhin. That tended to be Tahm Kench. But we actually saw in that same Game 3 that Tigereye won, that Tahm Kench was banned, and Brawler took Nami. So this is that exact same bottom lane. The current difference is Bomi is going to be on Nidalee, and we have yet to see what they take in the mid or top. But there are still things they can take in mid and top that still play to that same strategy.
Okay, I like the Caitlyn here because it does give you the range advantage against the Jhin, potentially out-harassing, out-trading, as well as the Karma. Together they bring a lot of wave clear, a lot of shoving power underneath the turret. So at the very least, Decode can keep Brawler and OK Tiger locked in their lane and unable to participate in many other team fights.
Yeah, you make a good point about that. And also, I kind of like the Echo pickup as well here. I mean, it doesn't really matter what Rare Fiction picks at this point unless it's completely left field. There's going to be a lot of potential here for Decode to kind of weave in and out of these fights. Now, if Tigereye want to be having a kind of fight where they're staying in, makes it a little bit harder for them to really execute on that. And, like you, I like the Caitlyn here. The fact that it outranges the Jhin in lane, the fact that it has siege potential, the fact that it is relatively safe in fights, even against a team comp that has Nidalee. But oh my days, let's talk about Jace, the 100th champion to be released. Actually, Jace.
It is actually. I love bringing out that.
That's mid lane Jace.
Oh my god. Okay, wow. Now, hoping this isn't a placeholder, because that's a really cool pick to talk about, because it brings out a composition of its own for a win condition of Poke and Siege. They've already got the Nidalee, so they can lock a team underneath the tower with the threat of all their Poke damage. And it's also safe when they're on the receiving end of Sieges, because they've also got the Nami to protect against dives, which ties into what I want to say about Decode's composition. Look at the diving power there.
Yeah, a lot of diving power, but also a lot of anti-siege, right? They've already got the Caitlyn. Echo brings a bit of wave clear himself. They have not picked up a mid laner yet, but there are plenty of mid laners they can pick up that will bring even more wave clear to the table, and ones that have a fairly decent matchup into that Jace as well. Ahri, I was going to say, is one of those, and I'm really liking this Decode if they lock in the Ahri, because first of all, Shiv does like his Ahri. He plays a decent Ahri. It can do well against the Jace. It has the wave clear, and it has that same dive potential as the rest of the team. Plus, it brings a bit of pick to the table. Not that they are a big pick-oriented comp. They don't have much crowd control, but it gives them a little bit. If they do catch someone from Tigereye out, they can probably kill them, because Tigereye, excluding Maokai, are pretty squishy.
Yeah, Decode, they do bring a lot of mobility to the table, a lot of escape power. With the Karma, Caitlyn, Ahri, even Lee Sin can get out of trouble, and of course Echo is just impossible to kill, right? So there's a lot of safety, but if they're running away from their tower because Tigereye are almost poking them away from underneath it, then of course they're going to lose that tower, so they definitely need to play to that dive potential that's within their team. They need to be the aggressors and the ones sitting in the driver's seat. And Decode, they are a team that can do that.
Certainly options on the table for them. I'm really excited about this one. I mean, I feel like we've picked the win conditions pretty solidly here. But the other thing to mention is Tigereye, much like what they pulled against 2EZ 3 times in a row, they've got a really, really solid mid-ground control in their team fights. They've got Maokai, who can deal with your backliners. They've got all the strengths that come out of Jhin and the zoning potential. And then they've got Jace, who actually does a good job of kind of getting in and ducking out. He pokes you down, then he engages. So many things on the board. It's going to be an exciting match no matter how we slice it. But before we get into that very sliceable match, we've had a bit of drama, a bit of controversy. We're going to go a bit more into that with Cupcake and Dolphs.
A lot of controversy in the NZGC this week, with one player in particular from the villains, the captain Dolphs, firing shots everywhere, calling multiple teams garbage. I'm here with 2EZ's Cupcake, recently promoted to OPL with Exile 5 in fact, and you guys managed to take out villains in their first loss in a couple of years. How did that feel?
I mean, it felt great, especially to answer all of their shit talk. I mean, the best way to do that is just to beat them and shut them up. So, I mean, it definitely felt good taking them out.
Game 1, you guys looked like you were coming out ahead. You managed to drop the ball and they came back. Was there anything in particular that going through your guys' heads to reset in Game 2?
Well, to be honest, every single game we snowballed pretty hard early. And it was just mistakes on us that cost us Game 1, and the rest of the games we didn't make as many mistakes. So credit to them for capitalizing on some of those mistakes, but really it was all on us. So yeah, we felt in control the whole time.
So it's only fair. I'm sure you've got a lot to say to the villains. Have you got any comments there?
The only thing I was disappointed about was the 20 to 30 minute games. I think it should have been 10-minute wins easily. And I kind of feel bad for Kensti because he's trying to carry a bunch of washed up diamonds, but otherwise, yeah.
So you guys think you have what it takes to take their throne then?
Oh, easily, yeah. We're definitely confident.
Some serious shots were fired by Dolphs there, and, you know, just going to tap into, do those words still stand?
Honestly, I'm the type of guy that if I say something, it rings true in my head. I don't back down on my words, and I still think all the other teams are garbage, but, you know, we've got some new team members on our team that were previously on other teams that were garbage, so they've got a little bit of trash left in them, but you know, it's my job to take the trash out and make them into champions.
You are the bad guys. Everyone is out to hunt you down. So, you know, having these strong words, you've got to stick to them, obviously. You're confident heading forward that you're not going to drop any more games then?
I'm confident in myself. My team has still got a lot to work on, but it's my job to lead them. So I'm very confident that we'll actually drop no games and they will all be 10-minute games at the very least.
All right, and welcome back. So there you have the full breakdown on what went down. Dolphs, well, despite everything, he has actually secured himself that match against King 5 this week. So they do have the chance to just get straight into those playoffs, but it has not been as smooth a road as some people were anticipating.
Fun fact as well.
Fun fact?
a lot of memes are actually coming out about how he talks about the 10-minute victories.
Memes.
Villains, they got the second seed by having the fastest average win time. So
there you go.
I mean,
Yeah,
might not be 10 minutes, but he's getting closer and closer to it. So maybe Dolphs can pull it off.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the win times are tonight. Villains all aside. We are going to see them on Wednesday, but we've got a little bit more of an immediate game on our hands as we are in the loading screen for that one. Tigereye versus Decode. We've already kind of spoken a little bit to their win conditions, so what are the keys to the game for these teams?
I feel like morale is also a massive key thing. They're not playing live from the Hexadome, so there's a little less pressure. But then something else that adds pressure on is the fact that...
Well, that one of them is going home.
Yeah, that one of them is kicked out of the NZGC after tonight. For tonight, one team's path ends. Their story is over. We close the book on them until the next NZGC, hopefully. But in any case, the pressure is there for that. And you've got to have an iron will. You cannot let any deaths, any lost objectives get your team behind in their mentality, right? And Brawler, I was talking to him and he said that was a very key thing about why they were able to win in the Hexadome even from losing a match. Can Decode do the same thing is the big question.
Well, they've picked Lee Sin. So they do have an iron will.
Well,
so, yeah. And then,
wow.
So I would say key to the game for Tigereye, especially, actually, is getting OK Tiger going. It might even be a bit tricky, actually, because Ecotoxic outrages him, like we said, on that Caitlyn. And with the Karma, they've got a really poke-heavy lane, right? There's only so much sustain that comes out of the Nami. They don't have to be too fast about the dive potential, because we've already seen Brawler can just handle that really comfortably. But even then, in that game 3, Rin Toyama was still able to abuse that lane quite a lot. I feel like Decode could do the same thing and get a little bit more out of it than what Too Easy were doing on the Wednesday. With all that in mind, though, we're going to go ahead and hit the Rift for Game 1.
And welcome to Summoner's Rift. In our very first elimination match of the NZGC. This is a best-of-3 series, so of course you can lose this one, but you cannot lose the series if you want to move on to next week in the next matchup. But for tonight, we're into Game 1. It is Tigereye versus Decode Esports.
And like we said before, Decode, they've had so much to prove coming into this. And against all odds, they have looked better and better from week to their credit. And we started to see the final glimmers of hope from them in their most recent match against frontrunners King 5. Could tonight be the night where they really pull it out, where they're able to not just put one on the board, but send Tigereye packing, secure themselves in the top 4?
Decode were this close to beating the Villains. And
okay, we're not on camera, but he's holding his fingers very close together.
I was going to explain that. It's all right. I know I'm not on camera, but they were very, very close to taking out the Villains, right? And they lost it. They lost it in the late game. Villains have great macro, but they need to hold that mentality, that iron will, once again, the whole way through a game. And I feel like that has been one of Decode's biggest weaknesses. So if they can get that, I feel like the possibility is there of them sending Tigereye home tonight.
Yeah, I mentioned something as well. Keys to the game for Tigereye, of course, being to do with that bot lane and getting that rolling. And actually, it's the same kind of key to the game for Decode at shutting down that bottom lane. Puni is a really proactive jungler. We know that he likes to make moves. And we know that he shuckles really well from ahead as well. That could be all Decode actually need to get this first game really rolling hard. And we're going to see nothing too funky coming out of that bottom lane to start it off with. And with that all in mind, let's turn our attention to what is that mid lane matchup.
Wave clear. There's a lot of wave clear coming out from both sides. Even at the lower levels, right, you've still got the shock blast coming out from Jason. Of course, Ari has a fair amount of wave clear too.
Yeah, Bomi's going deep actually into Puni's jungle, trying to hurt up that red buff there, trying to steal that one away. Puni going to keep his calm though for a moment, going back in to get some trade. Bomi does actually steal it away, but there could be a collapse that could come in here from Decode, but they don't seem to quite want to go for it. Puni, he does eat a spear here. He needs to find his way to get back in against Bomi, trying to move up towards his top lane, who's finally coming on down, but Bomi is low, trying to turn it around on Puni. Both have now flashed. Puni, he doesn't quite want to commit to it. Here's Bodhi at long last. Tag team go. Bodhi, he's going to be able to walk to lane with that red buff. Now, Bomi stayed there far too long. Artiferns looking to maybe get a scoop shot on Puni, not going to find it. Puni backs out. Everything all peachy and rosy for Decode, and they actually walked away with the first blood from that.
Yeah, a little bit of a late reaction, but Rare Fiction did not manage to come out and help compete against the kill. But look, there's more action going on in the top lane. Bodhi's going forward.
Returning to lane with that red buff, he knows what that provides him, and he's going to bully Rare Fiction out of lane. This is going to force a teleport out of him. And actually, that really aggressive early move from Bomi is actually really going to hurt Tigereye here. Decode now get so many small advantages. They need to leverage them, though. That's going to be the key thing.
It was all the lifesteal buff for Lee Sin, of course, in the latest patch. Able to jungle with a little bit more health, and Puni did end that engagement on a little bit less health, so that's going to be pretty important. But in any case, like you said, Decode, they're now ahead. They have a bit of a snowball rolling. They could take this into a victory. I feel like that is where they play the strongest, like you said before, if they can keep the snowball rolling and crucially close the game out, which is where it always matters in the end. That is where Decode can send Tigereye home.
Yeah, again, Rare Fiction is still trying to recall here. Bomi, he is in the area this time, so he'll be able to come into lane and make sure that the turret doesn't take too much damage. No, Rare Fiction's going to stay. Eventually, that red buff will run out. I don't know if Rare Fiction can last up until that point, really, given that he's out of mana. He does have a teleport he can just blow to get back into lane, and we're actually seeing Bodhi sitting really far forward. Bomi might want to come in for a gank here. That's something that Tigereye could sorely need.
And that could bring Bomi back, right? Because, of course, he lost first blood in the jungle, got set behind a little bit on his path, and that's to Lee Sin. Definitely not the champion you want to lose a skirmish in the jungle against. So now that Puni is ahead, it's on Bomi to come back, and Bomi, he's heading up to the top lane, but his top laner has recalled. The teleport's right on top of Bodhi.
He's teleporting right on back, Bodhi. Oh, he's going to be able to... Yeah, he might be able to get out of this, but he's pretty low on mana. Also doesn't have that red buff. He knows he's caught between a rock and a hard place, and Bomi, with the damage on, Rare Fiction puts a flash forward. Bodhi, once the red buff ran out, he stayed, and I don't know why on earth he stayed there. He knew the teleport could come in behind him, and he completely paid for that. The board is now even back up. Puni, though, he's going to try and make something proactive out of this.
Yeah, and it's definitely on Decode to see something happening in the top side of the map and get control of the bottom side. They're shoving in the bottom lane turret. They've got Puni sneaking into the enemy jungle, stealing a red buff. He's going to be able to 3-buff him as well, unless Bomi's really sneaky on that blue buff. But they're doing it again. They know Bodhi doesn't have flash. He could be the victim of a tower dive, but Rare Fiction, a little bit low, has to recall, doesn't have teleport either. So it's going to be a little while before he's back into lane.
Puni's just going to clear away his own blue buff now. They're going to try and take a breather. Decode. They still have a little bit of a gold lead, not much from that. One of the key things they did walk away from, right from all of that with, though, was a small CS lead in the top lane. That is something Bodhi could try and take advantage of, actually, because he has a little bit of pressure over Rare Fiction.
And I feel like, Maokai, immobile champion before level 6, fairly easy to dive underneath the tower. You've got Puni on Lee Sin, a lot of execution damage, and Bodhi definitely going to win the race to level 6 with the ultimate. Puni has found Artifans. He's dropped a lot of damage, but he's
but
Artifans
back. Has a lot of dueling power with that melee form as well. Puni needs to respect that. Does learn a little bit of respect for it. Artifans backs out. There was Shiv sitting on the side, though, ready to turn that into a proper fight if Artifans stuck around too long.
At the same time now, Artiferns has to go back into the mid lane at half health, less than half mana. Shiv, he's completely full on all those different bars, and he's level 6 now, so he's going to be very hard to gank, can turn on the aggression with both Ignite and Flash. And Puni, he can just go back into the jungle or recall. It doesn't matter to him. He's not against a laning opponent.
He is not at all, Bomi. His compatriot on the other side of that river is going to actually cross on over, try and find an invade, at least get a little bit of vision down, but he gets spotted out by a wolf spirit. So now Puni knows that his own jungler is warded up. He also saw Bomi walking over some wards, so Puni actually knows exactly what Bomi is up to and where he is, and again has the opportunities to make a really proactive play here. They need to start doing that before long, though. Like I said, keys to the game for Decode are really going to be shutting down that bottom lane, and actually neither jungler has really given attention to it yet.
And the difference is as well, Puni has to do it early on because he is Lee Sin. He doesn't do, that champion does not scale into late game very effectively. In fact, just becomes a walking ultimate later on in the game, so definitely needs to have an effect on the game right now. He's even in CS. Really needs to move into that top lane like he's doing now and going for the ganks onto Rare Fiction. And I feel like he could get the kill here.
He might just, because they've got him so low. Bodhi, he doesn't even care for his own health bar there, still had the ultimate available if he needed it, and a really nice move by Puni. Like we said, keys to the game might just be getting that bottom lane shut down, but if you can get top lane going, that's just as good, because Bodhi is going to bring a ton of fight pressure to this game later on.
And even at the same time, with having the jungler in the top side of the map, Decode is still having control around the dragon area. They're not allowing Tigereye to go for an objective on the opposite side of the map. So really playing the map absolutely well with the control in the bottom lane that they do have from the Caitlyn Karma. Sure, they're even in CS, but the team that's always underneath their own tower is Tigereye.
Yeah, and, they're kind of stuck in here for exactly that reason. Is, it's that outranging that comes out of the Caitlyn here. And it's really... just continuing to take poke here. Okay, Tiger, though, he will start to ramp up in damage just a little bit as the game goes on, and that's really going to be the reverse pressure that they need.
And the BF sword buy for Caitlyn is actually pretty big. We've actually got, a very important buy. Caitlyn has one of the biggest power spikes with that item, can really get a little bit more aggressive in the matchup, can shove the lane even harder, poke underneath the turret, even go for the initial demolition just through laning alone. But Decode, they're sitting just 100 gold ahead, despite being 1 kill ahead themselves.
Just a little bit. And really that difference in gold total is coming from just CS differences. There is an advantage up in the top lane for Bodhi, but that is answered by an advantage in CS in the mid and bottom lanes for Artifans and OK Tiger respectively. Bodhi, though, is going to try and turn that top lane advantage into something a little bit more, lining up for a gank. The parallel convergence is so solid there. And Rare Fiction, he does have a flash, but I don't know if he can really get out of this because Pooney started with that kick. Bodhi knows he can just continue on in. Really, really nice one there.
Pooney played that out so very well. Knew when to hold abilities, when to move in, get the key kick was, well, that's the biggest part, right? Because even with Flash, Rare Fiction wasn't able to get out of that situation. And Decode are definitely playing to their strengths. They know where they've got the advantage.
Yeah, Bodhi's actually gone and teleported into the bottom lane. The wave is good, but OK Tiger is so zoned out by that parallel convergence. Eco Toxic picking up a kill there. Bodhi was still so healthy from that gank in the top lane that he just went straight back into the bottom lane to keep the pressure on. And this is how they're going to leverage it. They're going to get the top lane rolling so that they can get the bottom lane rolling. And Decode, with all the proactivity here, it's really up to Tigereye to answer, and they kind of need to do that soon here.
And it's absolutely genius as well. It's paying off. They're able to get this turret down. Maybe they have the wave clear to continue it. Can Eco Toxic continue the damage though to get it down? If they do get the turret down, then Dragon Control is definitely there for them. But with OK Tiger on his way back to lane, they may not be able to get it down.
Maybe he's on his way. Actually, I think they might just be able to finish it off here with Bodhi sticking around. And yeah, they are going to be able to find that one. The bubble on Eco Toxic is nice, but they've still got the damage. And actually, Brolin needs to be careful here. Oh, Eco Toxic, he took turret shots too early in that one because they weren't focusing the turret. Now, Rare Fiction is teleported in behind. He's flashed out. Eco Toxic. Threaten has to eat a bullet, eats the fourth shot as well. Rare Fiction's going to try and keep up the pressure. And there's Artifans as well coming down from the mid lane to cut off the retreat of Bodhi. Threaten drops down for the sake of his AD. Decode, they do get the turret. One gets back on the board for Tigereye. It is Decode walking away with a little bit of an advantage, but if this turret falls, it's not really going to be much of an advantage anymore.
Yeah, it should even up in terms of gold. They should be able to take it down. And with all their members here, if they don't get the dragon, they can at least control the vision around it. It is a Cloud Drake, which I feel like both teams are going to be looking to get to either dodge spears and shot blasts underneath their own turrets, or get in position to get better ones.
Yeah, it was perhaps a little bit of a flub of communication there. Eco Toxic going for the damage just a bit too early and took, I think, 2 turret shots before they really started their retreat. And here we see again Decode need to get on the retreat here. Good move though by Pooney and Shiv to get some pressure on that turret, even up the CS as well, making as much use of Artifans' roam as possible. And Decode still sitting on just under a 1k gold lead, can certainly find other ways to leverage that into a lead, a bigger lead rather, because actually all that turnaround that happened in the bottom lane did not go in favor of OK Tiger. All those kills, or in fact that one kill, went over to Rare Fiction, currently the only member with kills.
I mean, he's the one that needs it, I suppose, the only one behind in his lane, but at the same time, it's a Maokai. All it's going to do is make him survive Bodhi just a little bit more, but Bodhi can already fight a lot more. They're actually sending the duo lane up to deal with Rare Fiction, who's going to struggle to CS, is going to have to throw out samplings, and again, with the numbers advantage up there, we could see Decode looking for tower dives.
Yeah, even looking for a fight because they caught out OK Tiger, who's relatively immobile. He's just dropped straight down as the charm lamps from Shiv. Great coordination. That's the potential pick out of Decode. It isn't even in the main line of their team comp. The fact that they pulled it off speaks volumes to how well they're working as a unit here. This is a different team than who they were 3 weeks ago. Decode are really looking like a team that has come together.
Absolutely, definitely showing off all of their training so far. The other key thing to talk about moving the duo lane up to the top side of the map is the fact that Caitlyn is losing her advantage right now with the BF sword pickup. Basically isn't going to be a threat until 3, maybe 4 items later on in the game. So the fact that Now Ecotoxic can just sit back, farm nice and easy with a numbers advantage, means he can get to that stage while avoiding his power trough.
Potential upshot to that. They do need Bodhi to keep OK Tiger in check, though. He does have a level advantage, and he's trying to leverage that. Also, OK Tiger just dying a moment ago means he's not in the most ideal position, but he's still a Jhin. He will still ramp up, and Bodhi isn't necessarily going to be getting kills on him in any kind of hurry, because Bodhi himself is still only just ramping up. So, Decode. They do have a solid advantage still, and I feel like they're trying to make use of it as best as they can here.
They're still keeping their eyes on that top lane. Puni knows where he can get the kills, so continuing to keep control up there.
Picking out the mid lane now. Speaking of control, his vision control has been fantastic. He will get spotted out by a ward here, but he'll be able to clear it. And Artifans, that means he needs to, at the very least, hang close to his friendly jungler. What this rotation into the top lane has done for Decode, though, is opened up the dragon as an option for Tigereye.
Yeah, and you can actually see them clearing it out right now. There needs to be a reaction for Decode right now. And you can see on your minimap, they are pinging out the top turret and should be taking it down to move into a turret lead. But, like I was saying before, the Cloud Drake, pretty important for the amount of poke that's going to come out. It's very important to move in position, go from the shadows, shoot with spears and shot blasts from where the enemy team can't see them. And they can get into position to do that much quicker with the Cloud Drake. And now they have the numbers advantage around mid.
That they do. And yeah, they're just going to go straight into dealing with damage onto the turret. Bodhi's going to try and come in from behind, but at best this will be a 3 versus 4 because of where that duo lane is. Parallel Convergence does zone off Tigereye, and they're forced you back out for a moment. And this top lane turret still hasn't gone down, so Decode, they need to hurry that one along before they lose this mid lane turret, because actually that's how Tigereye get back into this game, just by purely out-sieging.
Yeah, Shiv does have the wave clear, and now Bodhi has come to help with that as well. But Tigereye might just go for a dive.
Might just drop here. Oh, but Bodhi straight up to OK Tiger. They've just barely got enough. Shiv now cutting away as Artifans goes deep onto that, taking some turret shots. Rare Fiction's coming in, but Threaten has already rolled on down from the top lane. Bodhi in a bit of trouble, forced to ult backwards. He's going to be able to hop out of the fight as Puni goes in, tried to close out Artifans, did not quite get him. In any case, the turret did drop in favor of Tigereye. They did get the top lane turret in response to their Decode, and they walk away with a 1-for-1 trade.
And Ecotoxic continuing to pull a KO in the top lane, getting extra CS while his team is on the other side of the map, still holding an advantage. The mid lane turret did go down in that skirmish for Tigereye, so they're going to have more control around the middle of the map, but they're going to have to use it. They need to move into the enemy territory, drop those crucial wards, and really keep track of Puni, who is becoming the playmaker for their team.
The thing is, I feel like that would have been, it was a decent play for Tigereye. It would have been a really good play if they had got that mid turret uncontested, right? If they hadn't have got, if they hadn't have had anyone die, rather. And keep in mind, that was a fight they had with a numerical advantage. So the fact that Decode walked out even says a lot about the relative strength of these teams. Tigereye, they'll probably end up losing their own mid lane turret here before long, and actually they won't have gained a whole lot from that, because Puni, like we said before, has been all over this vision so far.
They've got 1 to 2 light wards in the enemy territory off of that. Not a huge amount of control around the mid side of the map that you'd expect after taking down the mid lane turret. And we actually saw Bomi trying to invade, take the red, but Puni was there. He was ready to keep control of his own jungle. It is 16 minutes in. It is getting time for Lee Sin to start falling off. So Puni definitely needs to start making use of that ultimate rather than the killing potential of Lee Sin. He's here to help Ecotoxic though.
Yeah, and OK Tiger has already been struggling. Also caught in the reload, kicked against the wall. The follow-up's there. Nice bubble, but Ecotoxic keeping up the pressure. Let's get to the wave out. Now Artifans does a ton of damage! Straight out of the turret now, Puni is in trouble. Bodhi has come on up to try and turn this one back around. They do find OK Tiger, but they need to either back out or kill Artifans quick smart, because Bomi is coming for the respawns. Bodhi got caught up by a bubble, but it looks like he's going to be able to get out. But here's Artifans doing the work he needs to. Shiv and Rare Fiction go toe-to-toe a little bit in the jungle. There will be a collapse here from Bomi.
He's just distracting.
Yeah, and Threaten can't go toe-to-toe with Red Fiction. Puni's going to have to come into his defense. Red Fiction, he's still sticking on it because Bodhi can't quite commit to Red Fiction, nor can he commit to Bomi and Brawler. He's going to go back in to try and duck and weave and get out of the fight. Flashes over the wall, wastes the time. Oh, Red Fiction sticks on him, but Bodhi, is he going to be able to get out for this? I don't know. He's getting back under the turret, but there is a spear there, and it all starts to turn sour for Decode as Tigereye just completely outmaneuver them.
And that was a shutdown as well, so taking a lot of gold to even up the gold. Look at it, we're within 300, but this turret that's about to go down, Tigereye are going to swing it right in their favor right now. They've got a lot of positional control, all the outer turrets are now down, and like I said when the mid lane fell, they need to start using that map control and jumping in and dropping vision.
The thing is, they already used what map control they had, what little map control they had. They were able to totally outmaneuver Decode the entire time that fight went down. Now they're doing it again. Ecotoxic Toxic just caught out. Total misposition by him. There is no two ways about that. And Tigereye, this is how they did it against Too Easy. They still played to their strengths. And I liked the move in the top lane by Decode, trying to keep OK Tiger down. But the thing is, they've already got OK Tiger down. Now they need to put focus on another carry. They need to shut down Artifans.
And also, looking at it, Bomi is putting out a lot of damage. He is 3 for 1. He is building a little bit more utility heavy rather than the damage focused build we saw against the villains. So won't be putting out as much kill potential with that amount of gold, but right now, like you said, doesn't need to. Artiferns is the carry right now.
Yeah, picking up the Herald as well. I feel like this is really more just denying it from Bodhi, who could really get a lot of use. Rare Fiction gets some use out of it. Yeah, Puni is waiting for it. They had to wait for the Q to cool down, but they are going to be able to wait that long, picking up that Rift Herald. They're going to give it over to Artifans, actually, so they maybe wanted to have him as the split solo lane pressure, and I do like that because we saw how quickly he dealt with one of the carries. They're going to go for a fight here. Looks like it's just going to be a bit of a backup for Tigereye. No, it's not. They're going to go in because they caught Threaten. The rest of Decode needs to get out quick, smart. The ultimate is running from OK Tiger. Doesn't look like they'll be able to get the retreat, though.
Yeah, and actually we've seen Bodhi roam up to the mid lane to help his own team, but he has to back off, doesn't have the ward control to move in for a flank, and is struggling to find an in right now. Tigereye, they've got a numbers advantage. They need to go ahead and use it. Dragon, Baron, they're both spawning up soon. Need to get vision control of particularly that Dragon, but they're struggling to find it. They've only got that single pink ward that Decode even saw them put down, so they should take it out.
Right now, they've got pretty much no wards down. You're dead right, and on the flip side, Decode have some really deep wards, have full vision of Bomi right now, and when he leaves this area, they're probably going to be able to find vision of him too. And it is a gold lead right now for Tigereye. Decode, they do have some ways they can get back into this, and those are primarily built around getting Ecotoxic out of his slump, trying to leverage what damage Bodhi currently brings to the table, but having already given up a bit of a lead, it looks like they're a bit unsure on what their win condition is. So even if they get a lead back, they need to change how they're executing here.
Yeah, I mean, they do need to get Caitlyn to that power spike. You're absolutely right. But before we talk about that, the Dragon's coming back up. It's another Cloud Drake, and Tigereye are looking primed to take this second one. But what's that?
Again, Artifans, and that's just the damage, the straight damage coming out of the Jace right now. And they know it. They know who the squishy members of Decode are, and they can just keep taking them down over and over. Shiv and Ecotoxic are trying to answer with a mid lane turret, but they don't have a numbers advantage in the slightest, and it's not just because Threaten is dead. Bodhi was also up top that whole time without a teleport available. So this is not something Decode could fight, even if full members were there. Now they don't have a way to rotate to defend this turret.
And, whoa, no, they've caught out Puni.
They have caught out Puni. He is surely a dead man here. Oh, no, they just give up the pressure just a little bit there. They finally get him. Bomi picking up that. They did lose Artifans on the backside as well, but here's going to be the turret going down. Like I said, Decode just caught a little bit out of position here.
The key thing about that, though, is that Decode, they were trying to shove down the mid lane and got forced up to the Baron to get in position to defend the red side turret. But unfortunately for them, Tigereye had a great position. They sent 2 members out to cut off the rest of Decode and then siege down the turret with the rest and taking out an easy turret, but also a few kills on the back end of that.
Look at how much easier it is for Decode. Actually, we're going to take a quick look at the replay here. This is how Artifans went down. It was all the 1v1 from Bodhi, so he is still the hot shot of this Decode lineup round right now.
Kill secure.
Yeah, secure. Well, I would say it's a good thing to give it over to Ecotoxic. The thing I was about to say is, look how much easier it is for Decode to defend against these sieges when Ecotox is in position under turret. We haven't had that yet. There, he was forced out of position, and before that, he'd been up in the top lane trying to answer with a turret of their own.
This is definitely where Decode are starting to fall behind. You're right, it's Ecotoxic and his position. He just simply needs to defend these sieges. He's got additional wave clear with Shiv nearby him as well, so they can definitely defend any 5-on-5 sieges. The only thing they need to watch out for is the incredible amount of poke coming out from Tigereye. They can't take any of those shock blasts because now Jace is actually building up. Artiferns is completing items with armor pen and a whole lot of AD, so they will hurt if they ever connect, especially if any of them ever land on Shiv or Ecotoxic.
Yeah, and that shock blast outranges Ecotoxic.
Not if he ults.
Well, no, not if he ults. Or if he lands a trap or a net. But in any case, that's not what Artifans is really up to. Now, Bodhi and Rare Fiction go toe-to-toe. Still a continuation of the old wet noodle fight. Can't really say it's going
Noodles
either
are getting
way,
wetter,
actually.
though.
Yeah, Rare Fiction He is getting low, but so is Bodhi. He's going to be forced to ult here. Red Fiction, that's going to force a flash out of him. Bodhi, oh, I didn't think he was going to commit, but he does. Blows a flash to secure it, but that is a useful kill for them. They need to leverage it into something else. They need to get him up top lane to respond as quickly as possible, because otherwise this top lane turret is surely going to get sieged out.
He needs to recall because they're not going to be able to defend his turret. He's not going to be able to put out pressure. Tigereye recognize they have a time window to do something, and they're moving in for
recalling.
it. He is recalling though, has teleport available.
Here's the rotation. Yeah, here's the rotation though coming out of Tigereye, getting the vision down if nothing else. They actually managed to get a spear on Ecotoxic. I thought for a moment they might try and follow that one up, but I think they had assumed that Bodhi was going to be able to recall and teleport in, so good call for them not doing that. This is something that Decode should be able to hold, but not if Ecotoxic gets caught out like that. Eats a spear, and that's going to force out the Jhin ultimate. He does live. He's going to have to back away fast and get in to defend against the siege. They can't really do it with the rest of their members, and that does mean that Tigereye get free time on this turret.
Yeah, free time, and they've got all 5 members, so a team fight they can win if they need to, and Decode just need to back off right now. They can't defend it. Their only hope lies in defending their inhibitor turrets right now. They've only got 1 inner turret left.
Those shock blasts are doing so much. Shiv already just over half health from one of those landing. No one on this team can actually absorb them. They just need to avoid them. And that's really hard to do, which means if any squishy does take damage from that, they can't defend the siege. They either need to fight or dodge shock blasts, and both of those are quite hard for Decode to do right now.
And the only way they can fight is going for flanks with either Bodhi or Puni, and they don't have the vision control to do that either. Tigereye have been walking all over the Decode jungle, dropping wards, clearing enemy wards as well, and they've always been doing it in the area of interest. In the top lane, if they're sieging down a turret, they've got the jungle below it completely warded out, and that's even more important because they can go into the fog of war and throw those shock blasts, throw those Nidalee spears. And the other key thing is, if any of them hit, then OK Tiger can follow up with a deadly flourish, snaring someone.
Yeah, and we've seen them do that time and time again. It's working wonders. It's hard to avoid just all the poke and skill shots that come out of Tigereye here. And even with the team fights, right? Like we said, one of the things that Decode might just need to do is get team fights going on. Well, hard to do that when there is all that mid-ground control here that Tigereye still had. And we've already seen that that's a comfortable way for them to play.
Oh, Bomi though!
Stole away the blue buff. He's just barely going to be able to get out. Shiv wants to try and chase it out. He misses the Q, but he might just have enough on Bomi. The charm goes wide. Oh, Bomi! Unfortunate there for Shiv. Call it unlucky. Rare Fiction now the one getting focused on, but Shiv is really kind of caught out here without any flashes or dashes. He's got nowhere to get back to his team, and OK Tiger finds one for himself there.
And going a little bit aggressive, putting himself out of position. We've got Bodhi pushing down the top lane, putting a threat there, but Rare Fiction is there to answer. And Artifern sets up the siege. He's got OK Tiger there to follow up on any of the poke that he lands. The ZZ Rock Portal is there to defend, but is it enough?
Well, funnily enough, the ZZ Rock Portal, I would say, was there to try and keep up side lane pressure. That's what Decode really wanted to do. They wanted to split push with Bodhi, but they're not in a position to do that. They can't hold out against these sieges, let alone set up a split push and siege style of their own. And Ecotoxic taking a chunk. There's the Deadly Flourish again. They all had to crowd against the wall to avoid it. That means they can't be clearing the minions, and another turret goes down. Tigereye just getting completely unanswered here.
And this is what I was talking about in Champion Select. Decode have a lot of escapes, so they're not going to die under the turret if they don't want to, but they have to back out so far away from all of that poke that it leaves the turret completely uncontested, and Tigereye can just walk in and take it down. We've seen that happen with all 3 inner turrets so far. Is it going to happen around the inhibitor turrets? I dare say it probably will.
I almost guarantee it. Well, and we talked about how Ecotoxic outranged everyone else. Well, he does not outrange Artiferns, unfortunately, who does just go down there. Shiv able to pick that one on. Never mind the dragon spawning. We've got a fight coming on here. Now Shiv wants to find Brawler. They might have found him out of position, but he gets a ton of heals from the ebb and flow and the heal from himself. Bomi and Brawler both trying to run away from Bodhi. He can't afford to go too deep, though, because here's OK Tiger. They're ready to turn it back around. The rest of Decode did not continue committing to this one. Now Shiv might be in trouble, avoids the Deadly Flourish. Decode, they're busy trying to take down the dragon. They could have committed to more of a fight here. They might just lose the dragon as well. Oh, they do just barely get it down. But OK Tiger with that ultimate running. It's going to be a hard one for Decode to fight now, and they're on full retreat. Bodhi's taking damage, though. Oh, he's forced to ult back. He might be able to get out of this one, but it's going to be with very little health, and they can't really focus down Red Fiction, at least not at time. He goes in, finds the start of the fight. Decode looking really low, but it's so back and forth. OK Tiger takes a chunk, though, and Puni's in the backside. Red Fiction goes deep, and he finally drops down. Puni still not dead, and they catch OK Tiger as well. Ecotoxic doing all the work now.
Artiferns is coming in.
Just barely staying alive, but yeah, Artiferns, he recalled. He's on his way back now. Well, he recalled via death. Bomi, though, he might just be able to chase out Threaten here. No, he's gone too deep. Bodhi and Shift, like two peas in a pod, completely coordinated. Now Shift going to find Brawler. Just barely avoids the shock blast. They need to respect Artiferns, but they might still have the damage to take him out. Whoa, no, Artiferns has the damage. No charm to connect. He gets one back on the board, but it is just one. The rest of this Decode squad should be able to get out alive here if they play this one nicely. They need to have each other's backs here.
Double whammy?
Yeah, maybe. Brawler if he lands a bubble, Artiferns if he lands a shock blast, but they can't quite get in range. Oh no, Eco! He didn't get away over the wall and eats a shock blast! That is devastating! Decode, they found a really great set of moves with the Dragon in the fight, but it just barely got turned around upon by Tigereye.
Now, a few too many members of their team did die in that fight, so they can't get any objectives out of it. But what they do have is Ecotoxic dead for now at least another 20 seconds, so they can get in position, clear some wards, and shove up the lanes. They do need to do that with the ZZ Rock portal as well. Rare Fiction should turn his eyes towards it. They did walk past it before, so they know where it is. Can generally tell where the minions are spawning from anyway.
Yeah, well, it's like a river. You just follow it to the source. But you're right, Tigereye kind of evening that fight back up for themselves. Decode now 5,000 gold behind. That's the glimmers of hope, though, and they do have a lot of team fighting strength. Also, a lot of item spikes right now for Ecotoxic, so they have some power in him. If they can leverage it well, are looking very coordinated tonight compared to previous weeks.
Definitely so. They've sent Bodhi back. He doesn't have teleport. And Tigereye, they've noticed that they've moved into position to clear out some vision, which is pretty key. Rare Fiction does have his teleport. He's recalling, maybe going to go spend some of that luscious gold that he's managed to get over the game. And he does have teleport to rejoin his team. So now Tigereye getting in position, keeping the lane shoved up, and really in control of the map so far. Yeah,
that being said, Decode have had the opportunity to put some vision down. So this isn't going to be set up for without any knowledge for Decode. That is crucial for them. Ooh, Shift taking the spear. It's kind of hard to avoid all of this poke, though, and he is going to be able to heal back up with that little bit of spell vamp on Ari's passive. And right now, Decode, they just need to hold out against the siege. Like I said, Tigereye can't set up a 1-3-1 here.
Oh, they're going in though.
Oh, maybe they want to go for a fight. I thought they were just going to try and back it out, but no, they're looking for it. Red Fiction, he's actually caught off to the side. The wave stops up Ecotoxic damage. They're trying to get onto OK Tiger. Bodhi and Puni, tag team, trying to do that one. The ultimate there from the Caitlyn finds OK Tiger. Shift did drop down off to the side, but if they can take Red Fiction out of the fight, then it's only Artiferns they've got to deal with. He is getting healed up on the side, though, by Bomi. So either they deal with him now or they avoid him forever. He is going to back off. They can't quite find anyone else, and they go 2 for 1 in the team fight here. What else can Decode find after that?
Well, Decode, they've taken down the front line and the AD carry for Tigereye. They can move into position, but there's still the threat of all that poke damage. Now they don't have to worry about OK Tiger using the Deadly Flourish to secure a kill off of it. But can they even get this mid lane turret right now? Brawler, I know Naomi's got a lot of wave clear.
They certainly, yeah, they can't at all with Artiferns there. And that's the thing, they're really struggling to out-siege. They need to get a lot more kills before they can get structures, but we're seeing them now being a lot more confident in their team fights, and the team fights are working out for them. And I mentioned it before because it's super relevant. They're looking more together as a team.
Yeah, definitely working together as a team, showing that those hours they've been practicing have really brought them together. Right now, though, I've got to touch on a very common weakness that comes out. Oh my god. A very common weakness that comes out from Decode is their ward control drops off around the late game, around this stage of the game. Usually they have a few wards down, but they're not in the correct positions, right? Or, well, they're in less useful positions. Not where the action is happening. It's usually where the action was happening. Right now, you'd think teams should be looking around the Baron. There's not very many red wards around there, but Tigereye noticed they've got vision control around there.
Yeah, they figured it out. Rare Fiction also finding the ZZ Rock portal. That is doing a good job of keeping him busy in these side lanes, though. And Bodhi, that means he can keep up pressure elsewhere. I don't think this turret is going down in any kind of hurry. Bodhi and Rare Fiction, both with teleports, Decode, they want to maybe set up for another fight here.
And Bodhi's still split pushing. That is going to put a time limit for both teams to make some action happen. But honestly, it's always been on Tigereye. They've always been able to poke down the enemy team. So Decode, it's on them. They've got to be the ones to decide when to fight. They need to go in before they've taken too much damage from that poke, or even get picked off by one of the deadly flourishes. Ecotoxic!
Just barely avoids the shock blast. This is going to give them crucial seconds to set up, though, to get their members into position for the fight. Bodhi is going to back away from that 1 versus 1 so that he can channel the teleport uncontested if he needs. It's a bit of a vision battle here, and honestly, it's one that Tigereye will always win if both teams are in the same positions, just because they can poke out the enemy. But, oh, here comes Bodhi, trying to find out defense on the side and has blown his flash. They're actually just going to go ahead for the fight as OK Tiger starts off the ultimate. It gets pretty much completely tanked out, though. Barely anyone took damage from that.
And Decode walk away from that very happy, right? They've blown a teleport on the enemy top laner. They've used up the ultimate from OK Tiger. Now they have the positional advantage. Bodhi could go for a split push, but the fights, they're still going for control.
Oh, no! Like I said, the vision game, though, Tigereye, they only need to move as a unit. They know that Decode can't afford to come in and contest the vision. So Decode, happy with that fight, but they do need to be careful as the siege gets set up. And with Ecotoxic being the one who took chunks, it's really hard for them to defend here. Ecotoxic shouldn't have even been there trying to set up vision, and the turret is already getting blasted down. The shock blasts are too big. Decode didn't quite find the fight that they needed, and now they're going to have a really hard time here unless they go for it now. Puni in position, finds OK Tiger, Shiv in to try and follow it up. Flash out from OK Tiger, now Puni isolated as Bodhi goes in, and they don't quite have the follow-up damage because Ecotoxic, he can't do damage to that many people at once. Bodhi is trying to make it last out while the carries get into position, but they never have in this fight. They couldn't quite find where to put their feet and didn't deal enough damage. That is already higher Bodhi down, with Puni licking his wounds off in the backside of that. The inhibitor goes down, and this is a super healthy looking Tigereye.
Tigereye walking away with a smile there as the initiation from Puni doesn't actually pan out. He's been spotted there, so Tigereye know where he is. They can move into position to maybe even cut off his recall.
All they've got to do is
delay him from connecting up with his team.
Stop the backs, and that gives them time to set up for Baron.
And they do have the pressure to do that with the inhibitor down in the top lane. Give it a minute and the super minions will be walking up to the Decode base. Puni, he's still out of position though. This is wasting so much time for, well, both teams. But Decode, they're going to have staggered death timers if he dies here.
Well, that is true, but while this is all happening, Threaten is actually putting wards down, and Ecotoxic finally puts the damage on that mid lane turret. I feel like this has actually hurt Tigereye a little bit there. They also just used up OK Tiger's ultimate, so actually, Tigereye, they didn't even need to deal with Puni. They could have just stopped his backs. They could have got a dragon. They could have got so many things. Instead, they gave Decode a window, and well, Decode have made as much of that window as physically possible.
Yeah, wow. I mean, they just came off the back of losing a team fight and losing an inhibitor. They really should have lost a whole lot more, but Puni with a slick feet, able to waste so much time for Tigereye. And now, they're still only 5,000 gold behind. That doesn't matter so much now that we're 35 minutes into the game. The same game plan is there for Tigereye. It's siege up, and if the teleport's down for Rare Fiction, he's going to be there too, and poke, poke, poke until Decode are gone.
Rare Fiction going to try and clear out that vision on the bottom side. He has Brawler nearby, Decode. They need to answer that quick smart before the full Tigereye vision control squad gets into position. Puni is trying to do what work he can, but already Artifans is there to deal the poke down. Like I said before, it's really hard for Decode to contest this vision when Tigereye are moving as a unit.
And look at how they have to move. They have to go all the way up to the walls of their base to get in position to defend this next turret. And honestly, this minion wave is getting pushed up even further, and we all know how this looks.
Yeah.
We're just going to see Shock Blast go in and chunk their health bars down.
Yeah, Puni needs to get a fight quick, smart if they're going to look for one here. And they do need to look for one. You can see he's hovering off the side, trying to get in position. He knows he's been spotted out by wards. He doesn't care because Bodhi is there as well. And this has, at the very least, forced Tigereye off. They're going to try and go for the fight still. Puni, he tried to get OK Tiger out of position, but he does not find him. Now he's the one out of position. Bodhi now going to be the focus. Forced to ult back. Might be able to get out of the retreat. The ultimate started off to try and stop Shiv from getting back. Taking damage. Ecotoxic. Threaten absorbs one. Shiv finds the last shot of it. Oh, Threaten barely. Oh no, the burn. OK Tiger finds it. And this is going to be disastrous for Decode as this turret is sure to fall. It was really done so from the moment Puni died, but having Threaten die as well means it's even worse. Yeah, it means they might be able to push for a win. The death timers are big. They've got the poke. Even if someone comes in, there's no tanks here. Not enough health bars. They're taking damage already. Oh, look at that. Ecotoxic just disappears from the map. Artifans, even if he dies, the Nexus is sure to follow. Decode, a good start in this game, but Tigereye, we've seen them play cool, calm, and collected from behind, doing it one more time as they put the first game on the board for themselves, in this match.
Very familiar play from Decode Esports tonight. Get ahead in the early game, get ahead in the mid game even, but fall behind in control of the map. It's something that we'd hoped they'd managed to fix by this week. They haven't managed to do it in this game so far. They've got the early game locked down. They just need to focus on controlling the map in the late game, their macro play, and maybe even touch up a little bit on their draft phase.
Yeah, they look like a much better team than they have in the past, that is to be sure. And that's because they have started to come together as a team. The reason I said it was good that they've done that is because they needed to team fight. They were looking cleaner when they team fought. They were all on the same page. That's something that can't even be said for some of the stronger teams, the higher teams in the standings in this tournament, right? So props to Decode for getting themselves to that point, but you're right, they just need to get that little bit further in executing on their strategy. Like I said, there was a point there where it seemed they didn't quite know what their own win condition was. That's not a position you want to be in. I also wonder if maybe they need to address a bit of their pick and ban as well.
It's possible, but it's going to be something that we do see in Game 2 of the series because, of course, Tigereye, they walk away with one win.
Yeah.
They only need one more to continue on and send Decode home, send them out of the NZGC for good.
Yeah, and with that, the pressure is on for Decode. Tigereye, on the other hand, are feeling a little bit more comfortable about picking up that win. They know they're not going home in any kind of hurry. They still need to drop 2 whole matches. In any case, we're going to see whether it is they who send Decode packing or Decode who threaten Tigereye's suitcases in Game 2. We will be joining you there in just a few moments, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Every challenge is a call to play smarter, to push further, to be better. That's why we put every aspect of gaming under the microscope. We are Logitech G. Gaming is our passion. Winning is our pursuit. Science is our method.
And welcome back. We are, of course, now joined here by Cam Crunch Russell, who is going to help us break down what we just saw in that game, what we maybe need to see out of both of these teams coming into this game 2 as well. So let's just start right from the top, right? Pick and ban. What are your thoughts on that, and what needs to change for Decode?
Right, well, we saw such a strong pick ban come out from Tigereye. That poke, follow up with a bit of, Jin CC, Maokai CC, it was just such a strong composition. I really think that Decode had the ability to maybe play that composition right with getting Bodhi ahead, but the ZZ Rock portal placement and timing was suboptimal to say the least. It didn't really get them rolling in the side lanes, and when he's that far ahead, he could have just gone damage and tried to really punish that Maokai a little bit harder. But going back into that pick ban, I think that you've really got to just watch the Jin in particular. It's so deadly in the right hands, and OK Tiger can really get those picks for Tigereye in particular.
The thing is, they also let quite a few comfort picks fall through for Tigereye as well. We got Brawler on Nami. He doesn't really care if he can get Karma or not. He always falls back to that champion. We got Nidalee for a New Zealand jungler, which is just always picked straight away. It was picked over Karma, right? And then, of course, Artiferns got a strong mid laner as well on Jace. Definitely need to scout something like that out and see if it's actually, because he's got to be practicing it in solo queue with his team, and that's something that you need to know when you're going up to face them against them in an elimination match.
Well, and also crucially, like you said, OK Tiger on that Jin, and I kind of touched on it in the pick and ban, right? It feels like Decode were trying to go after the strategy that Tigereye had played on Wednesday, and they did that by taking out the Aurelion Sol and then also the Yasuo, which is what secured the third game for them. But those weren't actually the key parts of that team comp. It was the mid-ground control and the Jin. So maybe in this one, do we feel they need to be taking the Jin off the board? And if so, what else do they need to worry about OK Tiger picking up? Because he does have a deep champion pool.
No, it's not necessarily taking Jin off the board, but it's more about having a better answer for it. It was really, really hard for them to be able to push through all of that poke and actually get through onto the Jin. If they did it wrong, then it was so easy for them to be able to get turned around on all of that speed, poke, being able to just pressure them under a turret. And they don't have any heals or sustain or anything to really answer that. and their hard engage really relied on Lee Sin to get a good kick. As we saw in that last fight, if he doesn't get that, the entire fight falls completely apart.
And that was the other thing in there as well. Of course, the Rek'Sai was taken away from Puni. The Nidalee was first picked out away from him, even though that Lee Sin was on the board for Bomi. So he definitely knew what he was doing with that. Is that maybe another option Puni needs to be exploring in that jungle? That
Nidalee is definitely deadly. Bomi only had one kill that he wasn't involved in the last game against Too Easy. There was 31 kills. He got 30 of them on the board for them. So we probably need to look at putting more focus on banning out the Nidalee as opposed to Jhin or anything else there.
Well, I mean, also Decode now have blue side, so they can get that first pick Nidalee away if they want to. They can first pick quite a few other things. They have more flexibility in bans because red side you're limited a whole lot more. Of course, they didn't go for any general bans like Karma, like Nidalee, at least in New Zealand. They went for more, like you said, Aurelion Sol, Yasuo, Tahm Kench. So I feel like the freedom there is to do that again for bans, and Tigereye may have to ban out a few more of the general ones being on the red side.
Right, well, with that in mind, we're going to jump into pick ban in just a moment. But first, we're going to take another look at, of course, these two teams, who they are and how they stack up against each other.
So we saw them in game one. Tigereye going up against Decode Esports. Tigereye already one game ahead, so close to moving on to the next stage, while Decode very close to falling out. Tigereye though, it's Rare Fiction up in the top lane, Bomi will be in the jungle, Artifan's going hard in the mid lane, okay Tiger for your AD carry, and Brawler, it will be supporting the whole team.
Artifans was an absolute monster on that Jace as well. He's been having very good series these last two. Player to watch for sure.
And on the flip side of that is going to be Decode. Now in dire straits. They need this win more than any other. In the top lane it is Bodhi, Puni in the jungle, Shiv in the mid lane, Eco Toxic and Threaten as the bottom lane as AD carry and support.
Yeah, and we've seen Bodhi stepping up. Now it's just whether or not he can get those calls to be able to rotate round to get his team rolling.
Yeah, and he was potentially the crux of their team comp last game. Like we said, it just didn't quite work out there. Decode, they've still got a couple of a couple of facets to polish, rather, is what I'm trying to say, as much as the diamond is well cut now. And we're going to jump straight on into this pick and ban here, as we can already see. Again, Yasuo taken off the board, and Trundle as well, taken away from Bodhi.
So ban's not changing yet. Also, something we didn't talk about is, will they ban Jace?
Yeah, well,
so Nidalee's going to be banned away.
I feel like you can't really ban out Artifans and his comfort picks. I would still like to see them potentially ban out the Jhin, or find a way to answer it like Crunch said, but the Nidalee ban is certainly a smart one, and they also need to figure out a way they can get Shiv having an answer for whatever Artifans might want to play in the mid lane, and I think that's going to be saving that for last pick.
And they actually are the team to ban away Lee Sin right now, because I feel like they definitely have something in mind for their first pick.
Well, they can first pick Rek'Sai.
They don't want to give Bomi that Lee Sin, so first picking up Rek'Sai takes that away from him. Nidalee and Lee Sin won't be on the board, so he'll be forced for a fourth option for the jungle. So pretty smart to target the jungle there. Yeah,
the only thing that I kind of can't help but think here is now if they don't first pick Rek'Sai, or if it even gets banned here, then again we're going to see what happened last game with Puni, where his it takes off. Yeah, Puni, now his champion pool is looking a little bit thin. I mean, like we said last game, the Lee Sin maybe not the right fit for him there.
Yeah, so what are we down to now? The fourth jungler for Puni and the fifth jungler for Bomi. That's if, of course, the jungler is picked up first here. And, oh boy, it's... I like to call it the Crunch Special, because definitely a big fan of that champion in the jungle. But it's not going to be locked in just yet. But it does look like they might be showing a little interest to the jungle. Maybe something else. There it is, Elise.
Yeah. There we go. So, like we sort of spoke to before, Puni, another option for him is going to be that Elise, obviously something else he's feeling fairly comfortable on. And now with Nidalee and Lee Sin off the table, Bomi, I wonder if he'll take something like Graves to kind of satisfy that aggressive jungler in him. Aside from that, I wouldn't be surprised to see Tigereye first pick out a Jhin here.
Tigereye also have the option to just flat out go Sivakama as well, if they want to go for a strong lane, but like we saw in game one, that Jhin is absolutely powerful, and they can pick any support they want with it right now because none of them are banned. They're going for Echo again, going for Karma.
Yeah, Bodhi taken away, Echo taken away for Bodhi, rather. Bodhi taken off Echo. I guess that's actually a grammatically correct sentence. I could have just stuck with my guns there. Oh well. And also, yeah, Karma. It's interesting that they take Karma, given that we were just saying Brawler. He's so happy to play Nami instead of Karma. So, obviously they want it this time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still a power pick. It's still a very strong champion. So if it's there, you may as well go ahead and grab it, because if you don't, then the enemy team absolutely will. Now, with the Lucian being hovered over, this reminds me of a good old synergistic lane, which is, of course, Lucian Braum. And that will be very different to what we saw in Game 1 compared to the Caitlyn coming out from Ecotoxic. They can go way more aggressive. And even with Bard, they can still go aggressive. And we could even see Puni change his focus in the game. He may go ahead and start ganking the bottom lane rather than getting Bodhi ahead. And like we said before, Brawler is the team captain, calls the shots. Maybe targeting him is the answer.
It's going to be Bard locked in. I really wanted to jump in before they got locked in, because I was going to say the other great thing about Braum would have been tankiness, which is something Decode ended up severely lacking against the poke-heavy comp out of Tigereye. They're going to go for Bard instead, though. Obviously something Threaten is feeling comfortable with. Threaten as well actually is a very solid Thresh player, and he hasn't quite picked up that. But let's take a look at these Tigereye hovers. Is this going to be a real Draven?
I feel like it's not. I mean, it could be pulled out, but I feel like with OK Tigers, Jin's still on the table, it could be pulled out. But something else to touch on with that Bard before we leave that side of the champion picks is that Bard's ultimate, great tool against Jin's ultimate. Right?
Yeah.
Throws out the curtain call, just throw the Tempered Fade on him, and sure, it just locks him up. It's got the range to do it. Now, Tigereye could look at choosing a different AD carry, but I don't think they will.
No, they made it. Yeah, I was gonna agree with you with the Bard. Actually, we did see another team try and pull it off against Tigereye. It ended up not working for them, unfortunately. But Tigereye, they're not going to take the risk here, and they are just going to go ahead and take in Sivir instead, and also Artiferns on Vlad. We've seen him win and lose on that champion. Actually, he did lose on that champion against Too Easy, but we've seen him win convincingly in the past on it. I feel like that is still a power pick for Decode, and it's something that Shiv has to answer. He's often, to say it bluntly, struggled in lanes against Vlad.
And it's also because Vlad's a great mid laner into a blind pick right now. Of course, they don't know what they're picking into, and they want to save their last pick to counter out. What are they countering out? The jungle. Okay, well that's
the last pick. That's
ruined my point then.
Well, I wonder if it's because they want to take Graves, and maybe of course one of the things with Graves is you need to wait and see what they pick first.
Maybe it's Echo Jungle. I think we saw. We've seen Echo mid. We may be seeing Echo Jungle this time. That would definitely throw everyone off.
I want to talk about this Orianna though, because like I said, Shiv has sometimes struggled in lane against Vlad, and actually the champion he did that on previously in that tournament was as that Orianna. So yeah, they're going to lock it in along with Shen. The other thing that they didn't quite have with the Orianna last time was a ton of synergy with the rest of their champions. This time I feel like they kind of do. They've got a bit more, at the very least, with that Shen who can go in and get a big taunt off. And then the rest is just going to be pure damage follow-up. It's still not as much as they'd get out of, say, a Gnar. And given that the Gangplank has been locked in, I feel like a Gnar would have been quite a good pick. But they thought they were picking against an Echo. It's not an Echo top. It is an Echo jungle. Congratulations. You've won. You called it.
Finally, I call something, and it actually doesn't. The players don't just mess with me and pick something completely different.
You broke the caster's curse.
I broke it.
Oh my god, we can say things now and we'll be right.
Isn't that such a good feeling?
Oh, this is so relaxing.
But it is something to talk about, right? Because Gangplank lanes well into Shen. Shen, not a very aggressive laner, isn't there to punish the early game coming out from Gangplank, so he can farm to his heart's content. And also, with an Echo in the jungle, right, he's very good at babysitting a lane, so if he needs to get the Gangplank ahead, then Bomi could show up there too.
And Puni also not the greatest jungler to answer a Gangplank as well on that Elise. Either the stun or the taunt can be cleansed. It's actually quite hard for an Elise to path in through the barrels to really get the damage down. This is a super safe pick for the top lane. Tigereye have just totally got the drop on Decode here with this Echo pickup. And it's all going to be down to how Decode play this one on the Rift, because they can still get solid advantages, but I feel like it just about has to come out of the mid lane.
Absolutely, definitely has to. Not a whole lot of poke in the game anymore. Speaking of poke. Arcadian, speak about poke.
Powered by Playtech. Hey guys, my name's Arcadian and welcome to How to Play League of Legends, where I walk you through the basic concepts around one of the world's most popular online games, all so you can get a piece of the action. Now this time we're going to be looking at something called poke. And so in League of Legends, poking is almost exactly what it sounds like. It's a little bit of a poke, a love tap. The poke is to get some long-range damage off before any fighting starts. Think of like poking a bear from really far away with a really long stick. The purpose is to get the enemy low and maybe get them to use some abilities or some resources to keep them ready to fight. Now, the reason people poke is to build pressure on your team to force them to make a strategic decision, to fight or to flee. If they continue to stand around and get poked, eventually they will lose out if they can't dish out some poke of their own. And so they need to either choose to engage and fight before they get too low, or get out of there and recover, leaving the objective open for the taking. There are particular champions in League of Legends, or heroes, who are extremely good at poking, and some teams choose to build their entire team around the concept of poke. Remember when I said that they have to choose whether they want to fight or flee? Well, if you have some other champions on your team who are designed to punish people from jumping in and fighting, or alternatively who excel at taking different objectives if they're left unattended, it can be an extremely rewarding and difficult strategy to play against. But that's all for now. And so thanks for watching, this has been your teacher Arcadian, and until next time, as always, Arc out!
Welcome back to the Hexadome. Smite, what are we about to see?
Well, tonight we have Decode Esports taking on Tigereye. And, well, tonight is the Elimination Series. Tigereye already 1 game up. Decode could lose it here.
Decode may be going home already after this next match. We have already seen their pick and bans locked in. Let's speak a little bit to the win conditions of these two teams.
Well, my absolutely good friend, Oriana, another fellow robot like myself, brings a lot of power to team fights.
Oh no, I am feeling an emotion. My circuits cannot compute this.
This is
Becoming
ridiculous.
human.
This is ridiculous.
Let's
stop it. Let's stop it.
But let's talk to this win conditions in all seriousness, because Tigereye, they've gone for something a little bit different here. This is the first time in a while we haven't seen them go with that Jhin-heavy, mid-ground kind of control. Last game they had a much more poke-oriented version of it. This is a very different thing. This time they're running Sivir, which we have seen them win on in the past, so they're going way back to week 1 with this.
And the key thing is that it was just an answer to the Bard pickup, right? It's very difficult to run Jhin into a Bard because he's going to throw out the Tempered Fate every time you throw the Curtain Call out. So Tigereye instead going for the safer pick in the Sivir and using just the power pick lane. You've got Sivir Karma, shove in the enemy lane against a low wave clear in Lucian Bard, keep them under control, and you can do a similar thing with Vlad, and then Gangplank, he's got all the time in the world to farm up in that top lane.
Yeah, I feel like the win condition on the flip side of that for Decode is just all about that Lucian. They are really, really relying on that Lucian and the teamfight power he brings. They need him to get big in time for the mid game. They need to leverage that mid game, and then they need to turn that into, if they need a late game fight comp with that Oriana ball as well. And with all that in mind, we're going to see if it is Tigereye executing on their team comp and sending Decode packing, or whether Decode can finally make that last little leap to really come together and take one out from under Tigereye.
If Decode is setting up for a comeback story, then this is it. This is where it begins. They've got to win 2 games in a row to survive after tonight. And they've been looking so promising after training so hard to get a win yet.
Speaking of promise, they're going to go ahead and pull a bit of a Decode special here. They're looking to make a sneaky invade on the bottom side of this jungle. They're going to go for it now, moving across the river. I don't think they've been spotted out just yet by OK Tiger. Now they will be. And he knows it there. He only knows it's threatened. The rest have kind of hidden themselves. Threatened. He's going to dodge the Q out. The rest of Decode back on in, though.
The suspicion is there, though, because Rare Fiction, he went pretty deep into the enemy jungle, threw down a ward, but noticed no one was guarding that entrance to the jungle.
They know what's up
So what
here.
happens when not every entrance is guarded? Well, one entrance is super guarded.
And if you don't really get anything out of it,
you just lose vision.
Yeah, you just lose vision. That's exactly what happens here to Decode. Puni is now going to have his jungle start completely spotted out. It's a lot of crucial information, actually, for Bomi, who is on that Echo jungle. There's a reason we don't see him in the jungle, right? They've done it here to kind of get the drop on Decode and pick ban, but that Echo is not a top-tier jungler right now. He is still a decent jungler, but it is a potential point of weakness that Decode will be looking to exploit. But with that early game, Tigereye have a little bit more safety with it.
Tigereye as well, pulling a bit of a, well, I'm going to call it a New Zealand special. We've seen a few teams do it so far, and there's no ward on the Gromp for them from Decode, so they could get some very free, easy damage here right now. And against Bard, it's dangerous because they could walk into a stun, but Threaten already a little bit low. Here we go.
Yeah, they definitely want to go for it. There we go, getting the damage down. They're looking to get it onto Eco Toxic, but yeah, they're going to take it right back. Eco Toxic going aggressive, yeah, on OK Tiger, and this is how they could pay for it. Oh, totally blows up in their face. Does not work when there is a Bard there. Oh, Brawler is well forced to flash Threaten. He didn't quite want to commit to it. Didn't quite want to do the odd flash Q auto, but that is huge. Brawler must back. OK Tiger is going to get back into lane, but Threaten and Eco Toxic just got a ton for themselves early there.
So they got the early jungle camp. They blew every enemy summoner spell. They got a kill for it. And now, with Puni as well, he can walk down to the jungle, to the bot lane, a very strong early game jungler. Also particularly great at diving, especially against people without flash. So I feel like this is the place to focus for Decode.
And I talked about how they really had one thing to leverage for the mid game, and that was the Lucian. This is how you do it. They're already backing off so that he can go back and get some more items. They want to bully out this lane as hard as they can, and they know the CS won't quite even up here either. So really, really nice early moves by Decode.
And you can actually see, if you look at the CS, Rare Fiction is also, he's dominating back against Decode Esports with a very large, significant CS lead. Like we said, Gangplank, he's got the freedom to farm up in the early game against the Shin, and he is absolutely using that.
Yeah, I mean, already a CS lead at this point. I mean, Gangplank is a champion that gets huge later on in the game, naturally, so Bodhi's really got something to answer for in this top lane. He's going to be having to just tank up everyone but Rare Fiction. Rare Fiction is going to be a force to be reckoned with. So Decode, I mean, it's hard to say it already, but they have to get this Lucian going as soon as possible.
Yeah, and well, they're well on their path to do that as well. They were doing a pretty cute play down there as well, keeping Threaten in the bush, because Bard, a champion, one of the best supports for roaming, they're keeping the information about where he is completely hidden away from Tigereye. Well, he's there now, but it gave the sense of lack of security to the other lanes where they could have a Bard randomly show up.
Yeah, potential. But it has been watered out. He's not going to show up just anywhere. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, Shiv and Art of Ferns. Again, we're seeing a bit of a similar story to what's happening in top lane. Art of Ferns is so great on that Vlad, and like you said, we've seen Shiv kind of struggle against him in the past, and here we see it again. He's already at a bit of a CS deficit.
Yeah, and it's really just 2 ticking time bombs in the mid and top lane.
Hold up. Speaking of ticking time bomb, Puni coming in to try and make something happen out of this one. Okay, Tiger, no spell shield, but they might just straight up have the damage. They do. Puni is the one who gets that. They're going to put some onto Brawler as well. Bomi's going to come in, though, to try and scoop up Puni, or maybe Threaten. He knows he can't quite commit, though, with Eco Toxic already there, able to do a lot of damage. So another great pickup on OK Tiger. This is how they get Eco Toxic big in time for that mid game.
They need to get him big, though, because look at what's happening in the top lane. Bodhi's forced out. Shiv is still falling behind in CS as well. Rare Fiction, ticking time bomb. Art of Ferns in the mid lane, another ticking time bomb. Once they hit that late game phase, and they're definitely going to do it if laning just continues this way.
Bomi straight in with a parallel conversions as well. That's going to force the flash out of Shiv. That is a re-gankable lane with some ease. They knew that Puni had to back in the bottom lane. Bomi taking great advantage of that, even as Decode are pressuring this bottom side.
And Puni actually going back and picking up boots of mobility, which he's going to be able to afford. With that kill he got in the bottom lane there, he's going to be able to move around the map and actually affect a lot of it as well.
Okay, Tiger.
He's picked up a cull.
Yeah, he's behind him picking up a cull, so he's obviously feeling confident in his other laner's ability to kind of hold the team through that mid part of the game, because now OK Tiger is not going to spike for a long, long time.
And that's a fair pickup, I've got to say, just because he already knows he's behind, he's getting targeted quite a lot. But speaking of targeted...
Yeah, Threaten's found Bomi, gets out just in time for the parallel convergence to not connect. But Threaten, he is being threatened, taking damage. Eco Toxic, he's ready to come in for the collapse. Threaten, he knows it too. Oh, Bomi!
Oh, no way!
Flash over the wall. He forgot which side of the wall that journey actually ended on. He does blow a flash there. That is potentially significant. Now, Puni in the top lane blows a flash out of Rare Fiction. Just a little bit of pressure. 8-1 orange, blue, a flash. Rare Fiction gets out fine. Now Threaten's super low, and they can't continue threatening this bottom lane.
Yeah, they do have the trading potential as well, Eco Toxic, especially with Ignite on the support rather than Exhaust. They're definitely looking for kill pressure, and they've already found some of it, which I definitely agree with. But the fact that Puni has picked up boots of mobility shows that he's not done with the bottom lane, but he's definitely going to start showing some love to the other lanes as well, because like I said before, you do have to deal with the Gangplank and the Vladimir before they get themselves nice and set up for late game, because if things continue the way they are, they're just going to go straight into it.
Yeah, to his credit though, Bodhi, he got behind in CS, but he's only stayed that same distance behind in CS. He hasn't let the lead grow any wider. And the same is actually true for Shiv right now. Eco Toxic, meanwhile, has widened his own lead. Now here's the repeat gank at the top side. Forces out the ultimate Bodhi. He's going to need to find a taunt, but no, he walks back through the ultimate. Rare Fiction, that is exactly what it wants. There's the taunt. They baited in Rare Fiction. Pooney scoops that one up. They made it work, and Artifans, he's unable to roam up through that vision, so Decode put themselves 3-0 up.
And such clever use of that Spirit Sword as well, using the dodge field to make sure he dodged the key crucial auto attack and the parlay that Rare Fiction was looking to come in with for a 1-for-1 trade. So they do pick up additional kills. It's 3-for-0 right now for Decode. It's the same story. They're ahead in early game.
Eco
Can they
Toxic,
change
though,
up late game?
Yeah, Eco Toxic has started to take a bit too much poke in this bottom lane, though. And that could really start to hurt them if they're not careful. Artifancy is also going to be able to get big as the game goes on. So, Bodhi actually stuck around at the top side. Bomi's there to stop the recall from him. Rare Fiction's also roaming up. I don't actually think Bodhi can get out of this, not unless Poon gets up quick, smart. Bodhi, though, he's trying to waste Bomi's time, and among these minions, might be able to turn around.
That's a two-level advantage.
Yeah, and now here's Pooney on the side. The stun connects. Bomi is the one who stayed too long. A nice one by Decode. Bodhi, he is going to have to recall, though, and he will lose a little bit of CS, but having just evened it up and now secured 2 assists for himself, he is a very happy camper.
And Pooney, 3-for-0 right now with the boots of mobility to move around the map and actually affect every single lane.
Arguably, he's the happier camper, actually, given that he has actually been camping a lane.
Absolutely, right? He's been camping 2 lanes. So, Eco Toxic, he's managed to get a kill out of it, managed to recall, pick up a BF sword compared to the Cull pickup for OK Tiger, who is still yet to recall. They're coming back into lane. They can start pressuring and making it really awkward for OK Tiger to throw out that recall if he's pinned against his turret.
Yeah, Eco Toxic. Like I said, he was starting to take a bit of poke, and the CS has been evened up a little bit by OK Tiger and Brawler here, but there is a huge power spike on the horizon for Eco Toxic already.
Yeah, definitely looking towards that sword.
Pooney! Return gangs. Bodhi's going to ride right on the Spider's back to make this one happen. They're going to cut off the retreat for Rare Fiction. First the taunt, then the stun up with the web. Pooney. They're giving this one over to Bodhi. Good call there. Keeping Rare Fiction down, well, it's an inventive way to make this one happen. But given that Eco Toxic's already ahead, this is a smart call by Decode.
And giving the kill over to Bodhi gets him closer to that Sunfire cape, which will let him push against the gangplank, survive underneath the turret, and crucially, give Pooney the opportunity to go affect the other lanes now. Bodhi's fine.
Bodhi is completely fine now, and yeah, Shiv might be the one to put attention to. On the flip side of this, Bomi has struggled to be proactive, and this, like we said, is the weakness of Echo Jungle. Eco Toxic goes down, and Culling on OK Tiger takes a chunk. Brawler and OK Tiger both low. Eco flashes forward for it, though. That may be all she wrote for that. Oh, he just barely gets out with a sliver of health. Needs to not take any more, because here comes Bomi finally making a proactive move. Threaten. He misses his own portal, and there's the Gangplank ultimate committed. He went too aggressive, thought he was too far ahead, and it does not pay off. Pooney does stop up the collapse from Artiferns, but he will keep going in, flashes forward, finds Threaten, pulls out, Bodhi in trouble, and this is Tigereye starting to turn it back around now. Shiv is here, they want to try and get a ball in position. Can they do it? Not quite. The movement speed is a bit too much from that Karma Sivir. They get on out alive. Nice response by Tigereye, nearly evening up the gold with just 2 kills.
And it's the classic story of Shen versus Gangplank. Rare Fiction can just throw the ultimate down and continue farming in the top lane. Bodhi had to commit his entire self down to the bottom lane, has to walk back up to the lane because he has no teleport anymore. His ultimate was actually down for that fight as well. So Rare Fiction continuing the farm, coming back a little bit after getting killed 2 times.
Yeah, that was honestly all Decode kind of paying for Eco Toxic's mistake. They could have just let it be. They could have forced OK Tiger and Brawler to back. Bomi wouldn't have been able to come into the lane. They could have started pressuring the turret. Instead, Eco Toxic went forward. 8 2 turret shots, 8 damage. The heal was baited out. OK Tiger holding on to that one to the crucial moment. And Tigereye, with just one tiny little move, have almost evened it back up. They are very happy about that because all they need to do is last until the late game with this Vlad.
And it does show that Decode, well, they're at least thinking about their win condition, which is that Lucian. Speaking of him, though, he's going to be fine. Yeah. But in any case, they do need to start fighting and using that Orianna ultimate, Bodhi's ultimate as well. And the CS, it's actually starting to even up now. This mid-game power spike might not even happen. Yeah,
at least not relative to OK Tiger. I mean, he'll still be a big menace because Lucian naturally is in that time. And there is still a cull here for OK Tiger. So instead of that, there is a Caulfield's Warhammer for Eco Toxic. He's got a little bit of extra comparatively, but eventually that cull will pay off. OK Tiger will start to get back in terms of damage. And like we said, really, Tigereye just waiting for Artiferns to go in the mid-game. Sorry, late game.
Oh,
or mid-game even.
That was cheeky, taking away the big Raptor there. Artiferns wasting a lot of his time and his health. He has to walk out of there feeling a little bit sad. But in any case, have a look at the gold. Decode are still ahead, but they need to take this gold lead and start turning it into either objectives or just flat out more kills and take that mid-game by the horns.
Yeah, and one of the ways to do that might be a dragon, but it's kind of hard to do that because Bomi is the one with the control. Puni is going to spot him out though, so Bomi isn't going to quite get the drop on this bottom lane. Puni also clearing out what vision was there. This is an opportunity maybe for Puni to get some good vision around this area, clear out some wards, maybe start to maneuver towards a dragon or, better yet, a turret.
Bodhi now, he's starting to put the pressure up. He's got not quite a Sunfire cape yet, but he can go toe-to-toe against Rare Fiction, who's
quite crucial, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, Rare Fiction was having a fun old time farming up the lane, but now that Bodhi can actually fight back, and the fact that, well, both sides don't really have a whole lot of vision up on the top side of the map. Puni's on his way. There could be the threat of another kill. Well, Rare Fiction, he's got his flash.
Gank. Yeah, Bomi this time he's kind of sniffed it out and is going to be on his way up, even though no vision has been there. This will get spotted if he starts to move too far further forward. Puni, they're trying to draw out Rare Fiction here. I don't think Rare Fiction is really having any of it though, and that's giving Bomi plenty of time to respond.
Yeah, Bomi's actually just getting some farm as well. He's on the top side of the map, so can jump in. Bodhi, though, he's baited it in.
Oh, no, the taunt goes wide. Rare Fiction now, he is going to throw down the ultimate, but he's taking a chunk. Puni is going to flash forward to make sure it gets secured, and that is a good one there. The Gangplank ultimate down as well. Hey, repeat ganks, if they ain't broke, they'll fix it now. Speaking of which, they go aggressive on Brawler in the bottom lane, knowing that they can have the stand united. The spell shield, though, on the ultimate from the Bard. They don't quite have another one for Karma there as she eats the culling and goes on down. Nice pickup by Eco Toxic, but okay, Tiger crucially gets out alive. I think they're going to try and look for a turret here, though.
Bodhi has taken the train ride down with his with the stand united, sorry. They have to get this turret down because, well, Bomi's showing up in the top lane. Rare Fiction has respawned now. So he's going to have the free time to walk up to the top lane.
This is really funny. Both of these junglers are actually going toe-to-toe in the top lane. Strangely enough, it is favouring Puni because he deals a bit more damage right now. And this is getting free time with his turret at the bottom lane. This will go down, giving the initial demolition gold over to Decode, reasserting their lead, and just in time for Lucian's power spike. This is how they can start leveraging it, because Bomi being in the top side means he isn't actually answering this.
And actually opting to split up that local gold between both their top laner and their AD carry. I feel that's smart. The fact that Bodhi does need to come back in, because if we had a look at the items before, Rare Fiction's just picked up his Trinity Force, but Bodhi's ahead in his lane, Eco Toxic's ahead in his lane. It is looking good for Decode, but again, it's the same story of they get ahead in the early game. Can they bring it into the late game?
Yeah, they do need to, but I want to speak to something else, and that is that mid lane matchup. Like we said, it's all about artifacts now just lasting to the late game. That's how Tigereye can start to get back in this between him and Rare Fiction. I mean, they're going to have a good late game no matter how you slice it, unless Decode have already won by then. So, Shiv doing well against the Gangplank here, even in CS, and actually doing a lot of work pressuring Artifans in this lane as well. Very different to what we've seen in the past from him. Bodes really well for Decode.
Bodhi's really well indeed.
Shut your mouth. You actually flinched. You flinched when I said that. I'm sorry.
I laughed, all right? Look, I'm not scared of you. I'm
not scared of me either. This is a nice response here, though, by Tigereye picking up a dragon. No vision here actually for them. So Puni, he didn't quite have quite take the opportunity to get that vision down. And Tigereye do find one back on the board for themselves. But yeah, Bodhi doing well in this top lane. Like we said, Decode, they're still in the driver's seat here. They need to start turning it into something.
Yeah, definitely. And with the dragon pickup as well.
Oh, hold on. Is this something?
With the dragon pickup, if I may be so bold as to speak. No, they're just going to keep going in.
You get no chances. They've got another bit of CC down onto Brawler now. The slowdown. They're going to try and find him and Bomi. They're forced to use the Karma speed up to get out of there. It's going to be a blue buff secured now for Decode. And very slow collapse from Tigereye. So Decode just kind of find one for themselves. And with the proactivity they have by moving as a unit, they get good vision down. They're going to be able to set up for a siege here, and Bodhi with that stand united can commit to a fight at any time.
And small steps. That's what Decode need to do right now. Of course, like you said, they do need to be wary of the late game powerhouse that is Artifans and Rare Fiction. But small steps right now, and then exploding with one crucial team fight will send them into victory. They're turning their eyes to a siege in the mid lane. And of course, Poon, you've got to keep your eyes on him as he slinks off into the sides, into the shadows of the jungle where he can rappel over the wall and send the Orianna ball deep into the backline.
Yeah, he's going to try and go up to the top lane. This one is going to get spotted out, though, by Bomi, who's going to come up with the respond. And, Puni and Bomi, they're going to go try and show here. Like I said, Puni actually deals more damage right now. If he eats a parallel convergence, it could be a different story. Gets a stun up on Bomi. Nice one for him. And they're going to try and go for the retreat. Artifans, though, he's committing. Bodhi commits a shield to it. Puni just tries to turn it back around and get Red Fiction. They do get it. That at least makes it a 2v2 or a 1-for-1, provided Bodhi can live. Or maybe Decode want to get a turret instead, but at the very least, Bodhi, he is not in friendly territory here. I don't think he's going to quite get out of this one alive. And the collapse is really slow to come out here. Bodhi, though, he's barely giving them the slip. Threaten. There's the tunnel over the wall as well. Can they stop up Bomi, who's gone so deep? He's going to go into Shiv now. No, he can't get Bodhi, as Bomi is forced to retreat with that ultimate. And Decode by the breadth of a hair. Oh, no way. Oh, but one more turret shot. It's a 1-for-1. But by the breadth of a hair, Decode turned what was a sour situation to collapse into an even trade all across the board.
Definitely looked like they were the team that got caught out there, but all things considered, it does still favor Tigereye, who are just looking to go even to survive into the late game. Bomi going a little bit deep here, looking to get a bit of deep vision, steal a few raptors, maybe even the big one. He does get it. But not clearing out enemy vision and not placing a lot of his own. So
he can't quite, respecting Threaten and Shiv there. I really do like that. He is aware that he is still a squishy man. And this is, again, the other weakness of the Jungle Echo is he doesn't get those items quite so quickly. Let's take a look at that 1v1 as well. Where have we seen this one before, boys? Ecotoxic going aggressive under the turret. He knows he can get the kill, but I don't know if those are trades he really needs to be going for. He should just be happy with forcing OK Tiger to recall. Yeah,
like I said before, it does cost Decode more than it gained for them. And now they do need to start leveraging Ecotoxic's lead a little bit more. He's finished off his Essence Reaver. He could look for the 2-item Power Spike, because of course with the Essence Reaver you are looking for that rather than just the Ghostblade build. But right now, they're not using it. He doesn't have Flash, he doesn't have Heal. Shiv, though, ultimate ready, Flash ready. They could make a play with it. Even with Puni with his Flash, he can bring the ball even deeper into the backline.
They actually really need to make a play with that. It's the one thing that they haven't tried to leverage just yet. And it could be all Decode need to really blow this lead wide open, because otherwise it's going to start to slip away from them as we go later into the game. We talked about it time and time again. Artifans and Rare Fiction, they will inevitably ramp up. Bodhi actually committing onto OK Tiger. And why? Well, because Puni's here. He's going to flash on in to secure the stun, finding OK Tiger. A Gangplank ultimate gets committed, but that just kind of forces that one out. Bomi is here. They're going to commit a teleport as well. They do get one back on the board. Puni not retreating in time. Now Bodhi in trouble, taunts over the wall. He will get out, but a 1-for-1 again kind of favors Tigereye.
But at the same time, though, Decode forced a lot of summoner spells and ultimates out from Tigereye, and now they're pushing in the bottom lane against a Gangplank who doesn't have his ultimate. Ecotoxic's doing very well in his lane. He's the mid-game Lucian. They can get damage on the turret, but they're not going to get the gold for it.
It looks like Bomi, though, he might be able to get that top lane turret in response. This inner turret for an outer turret, though, you take that trade if you're Decode. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to push into it, actually. Red Fiction just barely keeping on top of the wave clear for that one. And mid lane, still a bit of a brawl. And that's a little bit unfortunate for Decode there, actually. They would have been so great if they just got OK Tiger and backed off. You're right, they did force a lot of resources out of Tigereye. But Tigereye evening up the gold is all they need to do at this point.
They are big cooldowns though. Rare Fiction's ultimate and teleport, one of the longest ultimate cooldowns in the game. So there is still time for Decode to make leverage around it. Even by the time Dragon spawns, if it's immediately, Decode can force an action around it, and Rare Fiction just won't have his ultimate ready for it. Decode, if they're timing everything right, they can get in position for it. They definitely need more vision control around that river.
They really do. Puni already trying to do work on that, getting that river pink brush down. The Brolin just placed their Shiv. He's going to try and keep this wave cleared against all of these members. Could get hero for him, so he does need to position himself carefully. But Decode are getting ready for this dragon spawn.
Decode, their win conditions here. We're 20 minutes into the game, mid-game, Lucian going big. Even Elise, who has been ahead, Puni needs to use his mid-game power spike there as well, because Elise, one of the junglers who falls off a little bit into the late game, only really becomes a stun bot. He has gone for a bit more of a damage-oriented build, so he can still assassinate people later on in the game, but he'll be squishy and cannot rely on that.
I do kind of like that they've done that as well, because of course Bomi will start to get a bit bigger as this game goes on. He's not going to be the same kind of carry Echo we see, but he is inevitably going to have either some damage or some tankiness, more so than Elise, unless Elise builds damage. So Puni going with that to try and leverage the lead is a smart call, to be sure. And now this is how Decode can leverage what lead they have. It's the mid-game power spike out of Ecotoxic.
Well, I timed it wrong. Gangplank ultimate will be ready for this dragon. Decode and, in fact, Tigereye need to be in position for this dragon. It's a regeneration Operation Ocean Drake, which may or may not be what both teams want right now. It's still an objective to take, but the Scuttle Crab is there for Tigereye. I feel like Decode should not risk going into an Ocean Drake of all things.
They're wanting to set up
right
a
now.
fight first. Instead, Bodhi is hanging off to the side, just barely out of vision. To try and make this one happen, he's going to start putting the split push on, knowing that he can stand United into the fights, and that's going to give Decode a bit of positional advantage. There's going to try and be a rotation onto the turret here instead, but OK, Tiger isn't actually with the team here. This could be a favourable fight because Bomi has gone in deep, but that actually just isolates him from his team. Forced to back out now, trying to keep the rest corralled on the side, at least until the team can get into position here. Decode, this is very tenuous for them. If they fight, they need to be shutting out Artiferns quickly though.
The key thing is that they drew OK Tiger away from that bottom lane. That means Bodhi can continue to push, but now Tigereye are in position to burst down this dragon. Decode need to do something.
They don't have the vision, so they can't take it that way, but they're going to try and go for the mid lane turret instead, while Bodhi keeps the pressure on at the bottom.
They've thrown out the ultimate.
Yeah, they've forced out the ultimate. Can they get a retreat here? Artiferns goes deep. Oh, what a shockwave! Stops the follow-up. Puni goes in deep, and Bodhi follows up with a taunt, but Bomi has kept all the damage dealers busy. Egotoxic only just gets into the fight now. Dashes forward. He's looking for someone, but he's taking too much damage, and he drops down. The coordination just falls to bits for Decode as they fail to deal with Bomi. And now it's Tigereye, already with a 1-kill advantage. They're low on health bars, but they're looking so slick, just barely balancing the aggro, and they win the fight. They're looking to get the turret. No one from Decode can contest it. Goodbye, gold lead.
And Ecotoxic actually slipping a little bit out of position in that fight. We might see it a little bit later, but the key thing is the front lines, right? You've got Artiferns on that Vlad, able to get all of his health back. Bodhi, tanky guy, but eventually that health bar does drop and he's got no way of bringing it back. And once that happened, Tigereye were able to push it even further.
Yeah, here we're going to take a look at this fight there. So walk us through this one, Smite. After the shockwave landed, they just didn't have the follow-up damage. So Toxic only just arriving, trying to deal with Bomi first.
Yeah, and like you said before, the damage dealers for Decode were a little bit distracted, but Ecotoxic stepping away from his team was just absolutely taken out straight away. And here's where the difference happens. Bodhi takes a lot of damage, couldn't sustain back up like Artiferns could.
Yeah, because Puni was already out of the fight as well, Bodhi ended up being the only one taking all those members of the team. Just did not quite work out for Decode, and I feel like a lot of that was they need to leverage the power spike from Lucy, and Ecotoxic wasn't in the position to do that. Now he's going to be forced to back out again as Artiferns goes aggressive. Like we said, the later this game goes on, the bigger the Vlad gets, and here's Bomi again being a nuisance.
Yeah, and of course, right now you can see Artiferns picking up 2 key items. He's had Spirit Visage for a while, but that Rylai's Crystal Scepter is going to be key. If we see the same team fight happen again, he's going to be slowing up everyone in Decode incredibly well with that AoE damage that Vlad just constantly puts out. Bodhi, he may... No, he's not going to get the tower.
Red Fiction put 2 barrels down. Bodhi was just standing in between them, so both missed completely. And there's another one missing completely. But in any case, Red Fiction, he does just barely get up in time to answer the split push. Bodhi, though... so many hard words. Bodhi, he has the teleport and Stand United, so he can just camp in that lane and force Red Fiction out one way or another. Eventually, I feel Bodhi is going to get that turret.
Eventually, he will. But Tigereye, they're now in the gold lead. They're 4 kills behind, but they've got 2 turrets compared to Decode's 1. They've got both the dragons that have spawned so far. Both of them actually Ocean Drakes as well, so they're going to be regenerating a lot. They can go into these fights, and if things go a little bit even, they regenerate a whole lot more.
Fancy that, Vlad regenerating.
Well, I don't think Artiferns doesn't really need the Ocean Drake, but the rest of the team certainly does.
This is a great rotation here by Tigereye. Oh, catching out Ecotoxic as well. That was the Stand United committed. They do find Bomi with the Tempered Fate, but there isn't really much to follow up because Brawler is here, and that was just resources used for nothing. Red Fiction does die in the top lanes. They will answer with a turret, but Ecotoxic is the carry, the mid-game power spike. Every time he's dead, Decode can't really do much.
And Shiv, he's the only member there with the wave clear right now, but the dive potential is there. Artiferns still has his ultimate. He's got his pull. The parallel convergence is there. It's zoning them away.
Yeah, Bomi doing a great job with that, and this is what the Echo does bring to the table. He's out of that rocky early game now. He is a much, much happier team fighter at this point, and this is not a push that Puni and Bodhi can actually answer with any kind of speed. I'm surprised that Bodhi didn't try and commit a teleport, that they didn't try and commit a retreat here. They might be able to trade these turrets in the long run, but this is Decode losing the initiative.
I feel like that is still an all-right trade considering how things went for Decode. They get 2 turrets matched in different sides of the map. However, that being said, Tigereye being the late game team definitely get more advantages out of early, out of even trades. That's the words that I'm trying to say.
And we've seen that all game long. Decode, they have looked like a better team game after game after game. But this could be their last chance if they don't become the team they need to be. And right now, as the gold lead has slipped away from them, Tigereye, these even trades will favor them. And Artifans is already looking scary. Decode, how do they put this back on the board for themselves?
This is where Shiv needs to, very quickly during this game, get out of his computer chair, go into his closet, get his carry pants and slip them right on, because the best way to come back right now for Decode are those shockwaves. He got an absolutely great one in the mid lane earlier on, but he's going to need to get more than that. Rare Fiction could be caught out here.
Yeah, he could be caught out, threatened, and Eco Toxic going to double team him, if you will. He's going to try and turn it around into Eco Toxic. The damage isn't quite going to be there, and Purnia was there just to make sure nothing too fancy was going to happen to turn around on Eco Toxic. That is going to be fine for now. Nice pick up by them. They need to leverage this into something more while they had the numerical advantage, though.
And they've also got Bodhi pushing in the bottom lane right now, so they can put out the pressure and force Tigereye to do something.
Bodhi might get caught out, but here's the damage from Eco Toxic. Bomi eats most of a culling. He's going to go even deeper. Eco Toxic needs to be careful. Has a standing knight on top of him. His artifact tries to deal with him. The Timid Fade is good to stop up Threaten and at the very least delay his death. He goes through the portal. OK, Tiger follows it up. That might be too deep for him. Purnia, though, he's not a damage dealer. Is not the one to be dealing with OK Tiger. And actually off on the side, Eco Toxic was forced out. Bodhi was only tanky enough to buy time for the carry to retreat, and now with the numerical advantage, it is Tigereye. Artifans is unstoppable in these fights.
Shiv has put on his carry pants, but he's put on his walking shoes in the wrong direction. He's got a mid lane turret to answer it, but look, they're still losing ground.
Yeah, this is not enough. Shiv not going to get a good enough answer because they're going to lose this inhibitor turret. I'll tell you which one is better, folks. OK Tiger, no one can kill him, and Decode. Again, they look like they've just fallen apart a little bit in the mid part of this game. Now, Rare Fiction, is he really going to kill Shiv? You've got to be putting my groceries away.
Oh my goodness. In fact, they get the inhibitor itself as well. Shiv, he's wasting Rare Fiction's time quite a lot, but this is all time that Shiv could be recalling.
Rare Fiction is wasting Shiv's time. Let's be honest here. Shiv, who should have been in the fight in the first place, who did not get an answer with that turret, who dropped the ball, pun intended, for his team there, and now Decode even further behind. They need to leverage Shiv, and they have a very small window to do it.
Shiv, I mean, honestly, I've said this in other games before. Orianna's ultimate can be game-changing no matter how far behind you are in gold. But right now, when they're 5,000 gold behind, and Shiv, he's only had one good ultimate so far, needs to find that crucial ultimate. Especially after Decode had just picked up a numerical advantage around the Baron and then got caught out.
Yeah, let's not Monte Cristo here and put this all onto the one player who, of the team rather, that lost out on that trade. Let's give credit where credit is due to Tigereye, right? They did still win a solid team fight after eating most of a culling, and really that was Artifans zoning out Eco Toxic. His power spike is now not as significant compared to the other carries of Tigereye. Artifans zoning him out was huge for the team. I mean, we can talk about Shiv not being there, but it was still a 4 versus 4 that Tigereye won because they played it better.
And Rare Fiction actually falling victim to the same mistake he pulled
Shame
5
on
minutes
me
ago.
if you fool me twice.
Although, I mean, Tigereye, they got a winning team fight out of it last time. We'll see if it happens again. But I feel like, well, Decode, they've learned from last time. They're playing a little bit safer. Stand United is still there.
Hold on, this is the same thing again, though. Bomi, he's going to go in. Purnia is not actually all that tanky, but he's got a Stand United on top of him. That's not going to be available for Eco Toxic, and Bodhi doesn't quite get into the fight. Taunts over the wall. He just barely finds Bomi, but here's Artifans zoning everyone else. Where have we seen this before? This time, though, Shiv is in position. If he can get there, he can make something happen. He needs to get there fast, though, because the stun is there from the Bard, the pause of the fight. But a parallel convergence does it back. Shiv, he needs to get a shockwave soon. He finally finds on a Brawler and OK Tiger, but it's Artifans they've got to deal with, who is healthy again. Takes down Shiv. Oh, and Artifans is going to keep it going. Unstoppable now in these fights. Eco Toxic just trying to chip away on the side. Decode, they had those moments. They had a window in that fight, and they did not use it. The window has closed. It is now on them to break the glass, and it is going to leave them with a bloody fist, even if they can do it.
3 members down. Decode are looking poised to lose this mid lane turret. The super minions have arrived, and they're walking through the front door of Decode's base. They're going to be pushing down the Nexus, and honestly, Tigereye, they're ready to take down the inhibitor turret as well. There are a few members here to defend, but with Artifans so tanky.
Yeah, no one can deal with Artifans here, and the zoning potential out of the parallel convergence again. Oh, no way. Eco Toxic Toxic. He does barely get out there. They've actually lost, no, they haven't quite, sorry, that was just off the edge of the screen. I was going to say they lost a Nexus turret to Super Minions. They hadn't, but this is going to be the second inhibitor turret going down. Puni, because he's built damage, is trying to do what he can against this team. Okay, Tiger spell shields up one, they deal the damage back, and now Puni is starting to pay for having built damage. He can't close out these fights. No, he can't quite kill one. Bomi does go back in just to stop any follow-up out of Shiv, who does throw down a shockwave. Actually, now they might try and get a return because it's him and Eco Toxic, but can they really deal with this team? I think they might be able to. They finally got Artiferns. The fight just keeps on going. I want to take a breath. Please let me. Eco Toxic is thinking, yes, he will. Goes force to try and close it out. Finally gets it. And Stand United to make sure OK Tiger doesn't try anything too funky. Decode, they keep themselves in the game.
They get a good trade, 4 for 2. But what can they get from it? The Super Minions are still knocking on that Nexus front door. And now they can't get a Baron. They can drop a ward here or there, which is great. But with the inhibitor down and constantly pushing into their base, they can't really contest any Baron if Tigereye decide to go for it. So really, they get a bit of a gold lead. Well, not a gold lead, a gold advantage out of that trade. But that's it.
And I feel like a lot of what happened there is Tigereye got a really good fight again. They started getting good pressure down. And they stayed longer than they needed to because they know they're ahead. It was Tigereye with a little bit of hubris. That is how Decode were able to get back into it. But they are still behind. And Tigereye can just do the same thing but cleaner. And it's going to make it kind of hard for Decode to get back in this. Let's take a look at the gold, though, where it is sitting on these teams, because I've talked about Puni building damage. He's got a lot of kills for his team right now and has a significant amount of the team's gold as well.
Surprisingly, the biggest gold lead is actually in the supports, where Brawler is 1,000 gold ahead of Threaten. It does kind of show that that's where all the gold is coming from. It's the objectives. It's 8 turrets to 4. They're also on their 3rd Dragon as well, so they're looking great during team fights. And, well, they're looking great positionally around the map as well. They've got a few good vision wards down. However, they need to lock down these team fights and stop getting too greedy. There is an open inhibitor if they want to go for it.
Yeah, it is an option for them. I wouldn't be surprised to see them do that. They're already setting up the pressure on the other side of the map using Rare Fiction. So they're pushing with that ultimate available. Decode. They probably just need to find fights here, and they're finding it kind of hard to win those. They can make it happen, though, with just the right things in the right place at the right time.
Another option for them to play is a little bit more reactively, right? It's actually something we saw last week in the game where they were coming up big against King 5, was Bard ult the enemy team and then throw that into a shockwave. That is another option for them to do, and with Tigereye playing so aggressively, going for those dives as well, just wait for the pool to end for Artiferns, lock them up in a Tempered Fate, hopefully catch a few other members, and then throw the shockwave as soon as it ends. It's a deadly combo and almost completely wiped King 5 out. But in any case, if there's any time to do it, it's now.
Yeah, Bomi's already going in. Oh, takes a chunk, drops on down. That's actually really crucial because now the favor is in Decode. They don't quite get anything with the Tempered Fate. Red Fiction isn't in this fight, actually. I don't think Decode can get any more out of this one here. They do need to answer Rare Fiction. But if they can do that, then maybe they can look for something to zone him off. At the very least, picking up a kill is a good thing. It stops up the siege for a moment longer.
Yeah, it's really only giving breathing room to Decode right now. Dragon's going to spawn up in 30 seconds. It's going to be just too late to be an Elder Drake, actually, I think. I don't know, that's so tight. But in any case, it's definitely... No, it's an Elder Drake. Okay, cool, I was right. Sort of, maybe. But in any case, that's going to be another key target, but a team fight!
Oh, they're just going to go for it, starting off with the gangplank gold. Eco Toxic has already taken chunks. Bodhi gets in, misses the taunt on Artiferns. Now they need to back out of this one. Bomi isn't even in this fight, and they're scared for this one. This is all Artiferns. They get a shockwave, but only on Rare Fiction. There's just not enough members, and all the carries are low. Artiferns, can anyone even deal with this Vlad right now? Bodhi even getting a taunt on the backline isn't enough. And he's going to be forced to back out. They don't get any more kills out of it, but Decode certainly don't find any kills of their own in what was a 4 versus 5.
And the other thing is, though, Decode can just simply walk back to their base, get all their health back. They're closer to where they can recover. However, now Tigereye, with their low health bars, Artiferns being one of them, but he can, of course, transfusion his way back up to a full health bar. Maybe a bit of a disadvantage, but he's got to start regenerating that health right now. Otherwise, half health Vlad without an ultimate could be a key for Decode to win a fight. But if they're going to do it, they've got to do it now.
They've got to do it super fast too, because the Baron is dropping pretty quick, smart, to be honest. Here comes Decode, trying to get in. Yeah, Timid Bait starts it off. They find Out of Fence. All that's going to do is buy time. They nearly have a Shockwave available again. They need to get it into the pit, but the Baron's already secure. They've got to get the Shockwave. They finally find it on 3 members, and that's okay. Tiger drop. Bombing is deep. Shiv, though, he might be out of position. They put a Standing United on him, and they're looking for Red Fiction. They do find him, and Bombi and Out of Fence, along with Brawler, forced to back out now. Threaten, trying to at the very least keep something going. This is a good start for Decode. They did lose the Baron, but they might be able to get an Elder Drake and some turrets off this.
Yeah, definitely looking for the turrets right now, because the best wave clear that Tigereye have is Bombi on that Echo. And being a tank Echo, it's not going to bring out a whole lot of wave clear. They can definitely just start taking it down. But Bombi's going in.
He's going in, but that might cost him. It is going to cost him his life, because the turret had already dropped. And that's one of the crucial Baron buffs of this team. There's only 2 members left up. The death timers are still pretty long, and also with staggered deaths now, 10 seconds between OK Tiger and Red Fiction, another 20 seconds to Bombi. They're going to get the turret here and an inhibitor after it. They don't even need kills here. This is a really good one for Decode. This is exactly what they needed to get back in this game.
They need to back out, drop vision as quickly as they can, because they can't go for the Elder Drake because of death timers.
They need to drop vision like pigeon poos on their way out of this.
That is a disgusting an analogy, but in any case, it is right. You know, if you want to picture it how they need to do it, that's how they need to do it. But they need to do it quickly, because they need to go for recalls as well. Spend that gold. Get ready to move into the next team fight, because it's still a Baron up few members on Tigereye right now, particularly Artiferns, who's going to be benefiting from that a huge amount. They still haven't managed to kill him a whole lot in team fights. He's only died once in this entire game. Artiferns is the key member to watch in the team fights, along with Shiv. Watch where that Shockwave goes. If you can pull another monster ult once again, Decode can definitely stay in this game and maybe even take us to a 3rd match.
Maybe. There is the option, the opportunity actually there for Decode. They've finally started to find their legs after 3 whole weeks and a long series of losses. This could be the one where they turn it around. They are still playing from behind, but that is the best fight we've seen out of them yet. If they can do it once, they can do it again, and that means they can win.
And they also have a bit of an advantage right now to match the Baron in that mid lane inhibitor being down. It means they can pressure other objectives while that mid lane pushes down, and Decode can threaten Tigereye with a time window, force Tigereye into an engagement where we've actually seen Decode come out on top by playing reactively with that Bard ultimate and with the Shockwave.
Shiv on his way in as well. They're going to look for it again. They get a stun onto Bombi. A lot of this has been reactive, waiting until Bombi has gone in to start dealing with the fight. We also have Bodhi answering the push from the top side. Red Fiction, he is not going to be getting into that inhibitor in any kind of hurry. Both really want to bait out the other's teleport and global pressure here as the siege of this inhibitor continues.
Folks, we could be a few minutes away from the very first team to be eliminated from the NZGC, or we could be a few minutes away from having the series go to a 3rd game, and Decode actually picking up their first victory. Either way, it's going to be exciting. The next team fight could very much decide it all. 39 minutes into the game. Death timers will be long. Will the immortal Artiferns survive through the team fight? Will Shiv get the perfect
questions. Yeah, because they've already gone in. Here's Bombi going in again. That's the way they want to do it. It's at the very least going to get them the inhibitor. Pooney already low. He needs to find Sunny. They've got a taunt onto Artiferns, but he's not going to die in a hurry. He's forced him to pull though, and there's going to be the ultimate out for the Gangplank just to cause disarray here. The Bard ultimate goes wide. Artiferns is low though. If they can get an angle, they can make something happen here. Now I don't know how they can get in though. I don't know where that angle is. They're trying to get in. Bodhi with the chase. Eco-Toxic not far behind, but there is too much disengage, and they know that they risk it going sour. They're not going to continue to yeah, he does need to be careful. If he gets turned around upon, it could be all over Rover for his team. They are going to be all right for just a moment longer, though.
Shiv needs to survive here. He's still holding on to that Shockwave, and if Tigereye are looking to force the fight back here,
yeah, Out of Ferns! Out of Ferns! He stayed off into the jungle and sustained back up. Shiv forced to flash out. That's crucial. A Shockwave only finds Brawler, and now Bombi goes deep on Shiv. Finds him, shuts him down, but Eco-Toxic trying to do the damage. They're looking for OK Tiger, but they've already lost Threaten now. Bombi jumps back out of the fight with his ultimate, and again, they can't find Artiferns. Eco-Toxic needs to be so careful here to get a stun up on Artiferns, but they need to back out because Bombi could come in and pincer this one out. Eco-Toxic stays in, eats a stun. He's going to be able to get cut on the back end of this fight. Artiferns can't quite get in, but they can't quite get Artiferns. It's gone on for so long, but it's slowly tipping in favor of Tigereye. The longer a fight goes, the happier a Vlad is. They found another one. It is 3 versus 2. I don't know if they'll get anything more, but Decode, they did not win that fight. And now it is Tigereye again poised to win more.
Still not able to get any objectives out of it. The mid lane inhibitor was matched, I suppose, but that was before the fight even really happened. The top lane inhibitor is still an option for them as well, being an open one, but Ecotoxic is there to defend. Very slight objective gain from that fight for Tigereye. They're struggling to finish it out, but if there's a big objective to get, it is that Elder Dragon.
They need to answer this here, good old Decode, but they don't have vision as it is. Puni will put a ward over the wall, and this is going to be a big Elder Drake as well, because there's so many already picked up, and this is with Bodhi not alive, so he won't be there for this fight. I actually don't think Decode can contest it. They stop it up for a moment with the Bard ultimate, but yeah, they can't contest it, and that means they can't fight after it. They're going to have to last it out. It's going to be hard to do with an inhibitor down. Puni! Why did you go in, buddy? He's down. The numerical disadvantage is going to be there with an Elder Dragon's team. This is dire straits for Decode. Tigereye look poised to send them home.
They've got 45 seconds to use their 5v4 advantage to push into the base. They've got one inhibitor down already. They've got two options. Go for the throat and go for that Nexus, or cripple the base and leave it with nothing left alive right now.
Cripple the base seems to be the modus operandi here as they get onto that last standing in. A turret already taken chunks. The Gangplank ultimate comes down. Bomi trying to deal damage on the top side of the fight. They get the turret. Now it's the inhibitor. The fight is sure to follow.
Decode Esports, they're on their last legs here. The base is being crippled. The Elder Dragon buff is still there.
That's the thing. They know they can't fight. They just have to watch this last inhibitor go down. This is almost impossible to recover from. Decode is still trying to find a fight. Whereas Tigereye, they don't even need to now with all those inhibitors down. They just need to let the super minions start doing the work because Baron is about to come up.
Decode may still have their head intact, but all their legs are crippled. Ecotoxic
Or has Eco gone too deep? He gets a standing united on him, but he's standing on top of Artiferns, who gets taunted up. But there's a Zonias for him. They can't damage him when he's in that state. Bodhi, he's trying to deal with it. He's trying to waste their time, but threatening. Okay, Tiger got in behind. Decode, they're in disarray. It's going to be Puni to fall. A Quadra. Can it be a Penta? Okay, Tiger. Will he send them backing? Bodhi, no, he's going to go for the retreat back onto the fountain. He will live, but the rest of the team will not. Oh, can they get him? Can they get him? They're all tanking it up. The fountain to try and get the kill. Never mind that. Just take the Nexus. Just end the game. Okay, Tiger, he wants the Penta so bad, but Bodhi will not give it to him. Come on, just end the game, boys. You know you can. It's right there for you. They're going to get the first Nexus turret, and now the second Nexus turret, and Decode Esports will be the last team to join and the first team to leave as they watch the Nexus fall before their eyes for the last time.
What a way to finish the match, as Bodhi's still trying to keep us involved here, but this Nexus is dead, and you are dead right, as Decode Esports are dead. They'll be eliminated from the tournament now, a 2-0, still failing to get a win over the whole tournament, but putting up one heck of a fight in all of their last matches.
Wow, Decode, like we said, they just looked better and better every single time, and in the end it just wasn't quite enough. They were so nearly there. I haven't seen them bring a game that close in this entire tournament, but like we said, it just wasn't enough at the end of the day. Congratulations to Tigereye for taking out the win. And my condolences to Decode, who are going to be knocked out of the tournament. They are out of the running for good.
Not all redemption stories get to go to fruition. Decode, they're going to be out, and our hearts go out to them. But 5 teams remain, and we still have more matches to go.
And we are going to go to a brief break before we come on back with how the rest of this week is going to be playing out. We will also break down that game a little bit with Cam Crunch Russell, so don't go anywhere.
The NZGC is brought to you by our incredible technology and media partners.
All right, well, welcome back, and of course, welcome back, Cam Crunch Russell. We have just seen our first team go home. It was the team that failed to pick up a win the entire tournament, Decode Esports. What went wrong for them?
It's a big ask to have 5 individuals that have never played together come together and jump into a tournament within a week against the best in New Zealand. We saw the first few games that they played, it was a stomp to say the fairest, but the last two, King 5 and Tigereye, two very, very strong teams as we saw, and they put up such a good fight. They just haven't got the 20 minutes onwards period down, and that's where the team play really kicks in. Strong as individuals, but they just can't come together as a team yet.
And as well, you've got to say, as Decode have improved over this tournament, so have all the other teams. They had to improve at an exponential rate, faster than anyone else. That is a really, really tough ask. And it's unfortunate they weren't able to pull through. Tigereye, though, after tonight, they were able to pull out another 2-0 victory. They pulled one out on Wednesday against Too Easy. They now move further forward in the gauntlet against tomorrow night's victors. How do we feel they stack up against the teams that are left in this tournament?
Well, we've already seen them come up against Too Easy. That was live in the Hexadome. Lots of pressure and stuff there. It will be an online match for them next time if that is the case. So it could swing either way there. But DNA have shown that when they're on form and when they've got the picks, they can really put up a good performance. So it could be anyone tomorrow.
And that is going to be tomorrow night's matchup, of course, Too Easy taking on DNA. DNA, who have also sat quite low in the standings, but we have seen some solid performances come out of them as well. That being said, we've also seen some pretty rough performances out of them. We've yet to see them really pull out something huge. They have taken games off top teams. Let's go more into tomorrow night's matchup. What are we expecting out of that and why?
All right, well, the pick and ban phase is going to be crucial for DNA. We know that their champ pools are a little bit shorter than Too Easy, who have a lot of veterans that have played for years and years in competitive. They can go back on some of the picks that they've used to play that aren't necessarily in meta, but could be strong in this within compositions. DNA really need to be able to try and play around with their pick and ban, open up some new picks or pull something out which is going to put Too Easy on the back foot.
It's going to be all about how DNA have practiced over the last few weeks, right? Of course, crucially in the very last week since their last matchup, because we saw their champion pool, like Crunch said, really limited them. If they've been practicing, particularly solo queue, together, just getting the mechanics down for certain champions so they can lane well with them and comfortably take them into potentially their last series, then I feel like they could take a game, maybe even the series, off of Too Easy.
The other thing we have to say with Too Easy as well is up until Wednesday they had won all their games, be it 2-0s or 2-1s, right? But then they lost to Tigereye. So we've exposed the chinks in the armors. DNA can learn a lot from that, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have learned something from that, maybe try and emulate some of Tigereye's playstyle. The next thing to, of course, talk about is no matter who wins tomorrow night, they then have to go up against Tigereye. Now, we've talked about Tigereye have already beaten out Too Easy. If it's Too Easy that comes up against Tigereye, what do they need to change?
I think Too Easy just have so many small mistakes that they make. They have really, really good initiations and good intention with their strategy. The biggest thing is that they bite off more than they can chew. They overextend that little bit and then the fight turns around, or they lose an objective just because they overstay. If they can just start looking at these mistakes and really start to reduce them, take those little leads that they do get, and then just back, reset, and keep pushing further on, I think that they will come out the other side a stronger team against Tigereye.
I feel like really commonly Too Easy have all the right ideas, but the execution isn't there. And it's, in short, basically what Cam said, is the fact that if they can execute those right ideas correctly and maybe fall back on some of the more adventurous ones, then they absolutely can pull out the victory. And like Cam said as well, their last matchup was in the Hexadome, which is a completely different environment to online.
Yeah.
And was also quite a close matchup as well. Let's not make any mistakes here. Too Easy did beat out Tigereye in one of those games. They certainly have that in their back pockets as they come towards that. The other one, though, is, of course, DNA, who could well take out the win as well. And actually, their one win so far has been against Too Easy, if I'm not mistaken. So they have something that they can maybe take into tomorrow night's match. How do we feel they stack up against Tigereye?
Well, DNA are a team that have very, very strong fundamentals, but they just can't really pull the trigger as quickly, and it's the same sort of thing. They're a reasonably new team, and the roster hasn't played together for as long as Tigereye. So they really need to try and work on that synergy where they can all engage at the same time. Their fights are very disjointed, but if they can bring it together, synergize those team compositions right, I think that they will be able to pull out a better chance this time around.
I feel like DNA's biggest weakness as well is, like you said, it's their limited champion pool, so they'll have to work on the same thing in broadening those champion pools. But going up against Tigereye as well, who have very wide champion pools, we see it out of Brawler, we see it out of even Artiferns, lots of champions that they can pick, so it's going to be hard to ban them out, and with a limited champion pool, very easy to be banned against.
The other thing I guess I want to bring up with DNA, I mean, like you said, they haven't quite had the execution in times. They aren't always so clean at pulling the trigger as a unit, but we saw Decode come together on that front tonight, to be sure. Even though they lost out, this is the cleanest we've ever seen them play. And you know, their latest big bump up was really looking like a team, really playing cleanly. And DNA have had the same length of time to do that. You can bet your bottom dollar they will have identified that as a weakness. And with all that in mind, I'm really excited to see how tomorrow night goes.
Oh, definitely. It's gonna be a great match, and you know, who knows who's gonna come out the other side. As you said, it's very easy for the sort of bottom teams to be able to read up on the mistakes of the top teams, and also try and elevate themselves a lot quicker. It's harder to start if you're at the top. It's harder to keep going up.
Yeah, and I would be hard pressed as well to call tomorrow night an upset if DNA won it. So I feel it's going to be a close one, and whoever does win it moves on to play Tigereye. Whoever loses it, though, will, much like Decode tonight, be sent packing. But all that and more tomorrow. We are going to be joining you there. So for all of you who tuned in, thank you so much. And from myself, Smite and Crunch, and all of us here at the broadcast team, thank you so much for tuning in, and have a wonderful night.